Your manager, Sean Schneider, joins MLB Network Radio every other Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern.
Hopefully you get a couple of guys going at the same time, and we're just looking for consistency. It's been tough, it's been frustrating at times, but also feel good about the progress that certain guys have made and that the progress that we've made in terms of, our prep and our work.
Managers at the mic on MLB Network Radio, Sirius XM 89 and the Sirius XM app.
While you're listening to this game on Sirius XM, we're talking about the latest odds and prop bets for this and every game on Sports Grid Radio.
The under's minus 125. Heavy juice to the under.
Every home run hit and every strikeout thrown can change the line.
I can't for the life of me figure out how you can favor a team that never wins, ever.
If you're looking for sports talk centered around the latest odds and prop bets for games, races, tournaments, or any sporting event, Sports Grid Radio, Sirius XM, Channel 159.
The best from MLS meet the top players from Mexico's Liga MX in the MLS All-Star Game, and it's on Sirius XM FC.
Ricky Pooch! Brilliant!
North America's brightest soccer stars will be showcasing their skills in Columbus.
Suarez into the six and through the leg!
It's MLS versus Liga MX in the 2024 MLS All-Star Game. Live coverage begins Wednesday at 8 Eastern on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the all-new Sirius XM app.
In season or out of season, the #1 place for college sports is Sirius XM College Sports Radio, Channel 84.
Public Mobile. Different is calling.
CJCL Toronto. This
slams a ball to right field, way back, way gone!
Is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Low rounding and heading for second, the throw! In time!
On the Sportsnet Radio Network.
A Saturday matinee at Rogers Center. The Blue Jays are back at the ballpark for Game 2 of this series against the Detroit Tigers. Hi, and welcome to downtown Toronto. I'm Ben Schulman, alongside co-host of At the Letters, Ben Nicholson-Smith. Show Ali is our host. Nick Blackmore is our producer. Andrew Adams and Tom Young are our technical directors. Toronto Blue Jays baseball is brought to you by the local family-owned Crown Rust Control Centers in Ajax, Whitby, and Oshawa. Protect your vehicle from rust today. Find your local family-owned Crown at crown.com, Canada's #1 rust protection. With rumors swirling around him, Yusei Kikuchi takes the bump today for the Blue Jays, looking to rebound off a tough start before the break. Reese Olson on the other side, a deadline acquisition by the Tigers years ago, takes the mound trying to build on an impressive sophomore campaign. First pitch goes next. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, streaming on the Sportsnet app, sportsnet.ca, and across the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Timber Mart is Canada's building center, a solid neighbor to call upon when you've got a job to do. Your dependable home improvement store that offers the added value of Air Miles reward miles with every purchase of $15 or more. Visit timbermart.ca.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know your vehicle rusts faster in warm weather? Protect your vehicle today. For a special summer offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Hi, I'm Buck Martinez, live from the showdown between pizza, and inflation. First to the plate, with over 2 million sold, it's Fixed Rate Pizza, a hot and fresh extra-large 4-topping pizza for a fixed price of $17.99 until the end of 2024. Here's the delivery. And inflation strikes out. That's a swing and a drive for Fixed Rate Pizza. Lock in yours today.
Pizza.ca. Timber Mart always has plans to help you with your plans. Your home, your cottage, your garage, whatever needs your attention first, check the most visited spot on our website for ready-to-order plans to get the job done with Canada's Building Center. Visit timbermart.ca.
The biggest names in NASCAR talk are now with Sirius XM.
Hey, this is Dale Earnhardt Jr. inviting you to listen to my podcast, the Dale Jr. Download, each week on Dirty Mo Media and Sirius XM. As we react to NASCAR news, we chat chat with interesting people and share life's experiences. Whether it be Dirty Air, the Ally Guest episodes, or DJD Reloaded, there's always something for you on the download.
Hear the Dale Jr. download, plus every incredible podcast from Dirty Mo Media, right now on the SiriusXM app.
You want baseball? The doggy has you covered. Tune in to Mad Dog Unleashed for the best baseball coverage anywhere. Weekdays 3 to 6 Eastern. SiriusXM Mad Dog Sports Radio, channel 82.
Sportsnet Radio Network.
Bo's going to hit the IL with the right calf strain. He's getting an MRI done right now just to kind of determine the severity of it, and we'll have a timeline and kind of a plan after we get those results. He's disappointed, obviously, with how that ended last night. We need him in our lineup, hoping for him to kind of get going here in the second half and get back to his normal self. So he's frustrated, I think, that he's not out there, and kind of just with the way the whole season has kind of unfolded, he'd be the first to say that. So knowing him, though, he's going to tackle it head on. He's going to want to be out there as quick as he can. We just got to make sure he's good to go. It's an opportunity for Leo, who's done a great job since he's been here. Really been impressed with him and his clock, both in the box and in the field. So I think he'll get the majority of the reps there now.
That was manager John Schneider before the game talking about Bo Bichette's trip to the injured list, Leo Jimenez's expanded opportunity. We'll see that today as Jimenez makes the start at shortstop in Game 2, Blue Jays and Tigers at Rogers Center. Welcome back to downtown Toronto. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Ben Nicholson-Smith. And Ben, yesterday I asked you about the Blue Jays getting Bo Bichette back. Unfortunately, today I ask you the opposite, the impact now of Bo once again being out of the lineup.
And it's a huge impact, just as they were hoping his offensive impact would be a really positive development for them heading into the second half. The absence of Bo Bichette will be felt here for at least the next 10 days. We'll see, as John Schneider said, how long that absence goes. But in the meantime, opportunity for Leo Jimenez and more frustration for Bo Bichette, whose 2024 season just has not gone according to plan in any way.
We see Jimenez out on the field along with the rest of the Blue Jays. We'll get to the lineups in a sec, but first, the Bet365 standings. At Bet365, you can watch thousands of live games, build your own bet, and can even make a bet while the game's still being played. 19-plus, play responsibly. Ontario only. Atop the division right now are the Baltimore Orioles heading into today. They are 59-38. The New York Yankees in progress right now, but 59-40. Boston is 53-43. Tampa Bay 48-49, and Toronto 44-53. Detroit Tigers 12 games back in the AL Central at 48-50, 6 back of the final wild card spot for the Tigers. Who starts today for A.J. Hinch's team?
Well, they'll start things off with Andy Ibanez, who faces a lot of lefties and does well against them. He'll play second base. Following that will be Justin Henry Malloy at DH. Matt Vierling will bat third and play center field in place of Riley Green, who starts the day on the bench. Mark Canha will bat cleanup and play first base. Wencel Perez back in the lineup, this time playing right field for the Tigers. Jake Rogers gets the start behind the plate, batting sixth, followed by Javi Baez in there today at shortstop. Gio Urshela will bat eighth and play third base. And Ryan Valade rounds things out for the Tigers, playing left field.
Walking up to the plate, Ibanez quickly run through the Blue Jays lineup. Right fielder George Springer leads off. Spencer Horwitz at first, batting second. Vlad Guerrero Jr. at third, hitting third. The DH and cleanup hitters Justin Turner. Danny Jansen, the catcher, hits fifth. Left fielder Dalton Varsho hits sixth. Davis Schneider playing second, batting seventh. Leo Jimenez at short, hitting eighth. And center fielder Kevin Kiermaier bats ninth. On the mound, Yusei Kikuchi making his 21st start of the year, 4-8 with a 4.42 earned run average. He's on the rubber. Right-handed hitter Ibanez in the box. The kick and the pitch. Fastball, strike one. Time of the first pitch today, 3:07 Eastern. It's a fantastic day in Toronto, 27 degrees Celsius. Puffy white clouds over top, but a lot of sun pouring through. 0-1. Called strike again, that time the slider. Yusei Kikuchi is ahead 0-2. Four-seamer, slider, curveball, and changeup for the lefty. Coming off one of his tougher starts of the year in Arizona. His 0-2 pitch. High and outside, ball one. It was an odd start for him last time out in Arizona. 4 innings scoreless, absolutely dominating. 1-2. In the dirt, Ibanez started to swing but lays off. That'll even up the count. And then a 7-run fifth inning that knocked him out of the game.
Yeah, and talking to Yusei Kikuchi after that game and John Schneider as well, they both agreed that he really got winded covering first base on an errant throw by Vlad Guerrero Jr. and just never recovered after that.
2-2. Swing and a fly ball to center field. Not hit very deep. Kevin Kiermaier jogs in, makes a two-handed catch. There's one out.
And at that point, it was really tough for Kikuchi to recover. He was walking lots of hitters. Arguably, John Schneider might have left him in there a little bit too long. But regardless, it wasn't the result that Kikuchi wanted. And so it ended up being a bit of a sour note to end that first half on.
Kikuchi off to a good start here, though, in the second half. Gets Ibanez, and here's Justin Henry Malloy. First pitch, called strike, 0-1. The hyphen for Malloy is in between the two first names, Justin Henry space Malloy, a rookie right-handed hitting DH. 0-1 pitch in there again, 0-2. DH Malloy has hit .219 this year, 5 homers, 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Kikuchi pulls the string with the changeup there, gets Malloy on 3 pitches. There are 2 down.
Great pitch right there. Malloy looked off balance on that changeup, which was located right on the outside part of the plate. Nice job by Kikuchi to get him to expand the zone and get that second out.
Perhaps an important pitch today for Kikuchi with 9 guys all batting right against Yusei today. First pitch to Matt Vierling, strike 1. No score, nobody on. 2 outs, top of the first. Vierling, the .248 hitter, came up with a pair of hits yesterday. 0-1. Low. This first inning, by the way, is brought to you by Armstrong Bird Food. Bring nature to your backyard with Armstrong, feeding Blue Jays since 1986. Visit ArmstrongBirdFood.com. The kick and the pitch. Fouled off to the right. New baseball given to Danny Jansen by home plate ump Nestor Seja. Jeremy Riggs at first and Corey Blazer at second. Todd Titchener, the crew chief, umpires third. Kikuchi set at the belt. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The pitch. Low, 2-2. Infield defense is straight up against the right-handed hitter Vierling. Outfield is actually playing toward the opposite way. Kevin Kiermaier, the center fielder, shaded toward right. 2-2. Fly ball off the handle, sent to right field. Springer coming in. A dive at second by Schneider, and it's off his glove and down on the right field turf. I didn't think Davis Schneider had a shot at that ball. He ran way back into right, and I think it's a bit of an applause here for the effort as he nearly made a remarkable play.
That was an incredibly difficult one, but Davis Schneider got a great read on it, ran exactly to the spot where the ball was about to land, and even gets a glove on it. He's not the quickest and certainly didn't start that fast toward the baseball, but he made up for it with some closing speed and nearly made an amazing play.
It's a single, though, for Vierling, who's on first. Mark Canna is up. A look from Kikuchi at first. The pitch home. Strike 1 with a fastball at 96. Schneider dusted himself off, plays up the middle for the Blue Jays. Shortstop Leo Jimenez shaded toward third. The 0-1. Swing and a miss.
Interesting to see how the Blue Jays configure things defensively today. They want Vlad Guerrero Jr.'s arm at third base. Arguably, you could put Davis Schneider at third base, Horwitz at second, and Vladdy at first, but they move Vladdy over to third base where that arm plays.
0-2. Poked ground ball foul to the right. Kind of half swing from Canada to stay alive. It's interesting. We saw Schneider at third base last year. I remember specifically in Colorado. I think he got a start or 2 there. But we haven't really seen him at the hot corner this year.
Yeah, they seem more comfortable with him at second, but they do like him at second, and they'll use him as a defensive replacement there.
A step in, lob over to first by Kikuchi. Vierling back standing. As Schneider defensively replaced yesterday at second base, Blue Jays pinch ran for Spencer Horwitz and then brought in Schneider after. 0-2. Swinging a bouncing ball through the whole right side into right field. Springer picks it up. Vierling up to second. Canna stops at first. Back-to-back singles for the Tigers with 2 outs in the top of the first.
Well, it's a threat for the Tigers, and the Blue Jays, of course, need to be wary of Wencel Perez, the way he's been swinging it. But none of this contact against Kikuchi has been hard.
That was a changeup that was off the plate outside, although maybe a little bit higher than intended by Kikuchi, and that appeared to go off the end of the bat for Canada and just roll through the right spot. Here's the guy, though, who had the decisive swing in yesterday's game, Wencel Perez, the rookie right fielder. Switch hitter, batting right. First and second, 2 outs. The pitch. Swing and a miss. Perez hit his 6th home run of the season. A 2-run shot into the right field bullpen yesterday in the 7th inning. Made it 5-2 at that point in time, and the Tigers held on to win 5-4. The 0-1. Swing and a fly ball right center. Kiermaier has a beat on it. Springer will call him off and make the catch to end the inning. 2-out hits, but no runs for the Tigers and 2 left on base. No scores. We go to the bottom of the first. Reese Olson on the mound and George Springer batting next. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
We're 2 men in a truck, the movers who care. You never know when cardiac arrest can happen. That's why each and every one of our trucks carries a life-saving Mikey defibrillator as part of our Mikey on Board program. Whether we're on the highway or in front of your house, we're prepared to help anyone whose heart may skip a beat. The Mikey Network has saved many lives, making Mikeys accessible to the public. And now they're on board our trucks. We're 2 men in a truck.
2 men and a truck, the movers who care.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you.
Cheers, Insiders! How we doing today? The Blue Jays are back. The All-Star break is over. Thank you all for being here as our Blue Jays take on the Tigers. Make sure you guys hit that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button if you're new here, and let's hang out and have some fun with this Blue Jays game today against the Detroit Tigers. Hopefully, the Jays can get a run going here, and we can maybe get back into the playoff picture. Other than that, we're selling at the deadline. Appreciate every one of you being here. Back to the baseball. Go Jays go. Cheer loud, and we'll see you in the chat.
Betting and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Must be 19 years or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
Hey, this is Bo Bichette. You're listening to Toronto Blue Jays Baseball on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome back to Rogers Center. Bottom of the first inning. Blue Jays and Tigers scoreless. Reese Olson takes the mound for Detroit in his 19th start of the year. The right-hander winds and delivers to George Springer. First pitch strike with a fastball. Welcome to the Timber Mart broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Ben Nicholson-Smith. Olson into the wind, the pitch. Check swing. Pitch was down and away. Ball 1. In 18 starts before this one, a 4-8 record for Olson, 3.30 earned run average in 101 innings pitched. 24-year-old into the wind, 1-1. Fouled off by Springer, hit it into the ground behind him, 1-2. Maybe doesn't get the attention of a Tarek Skubal or a Jack Flaherty who we saw yesterday, but Olson another fixture in this rotation.
He really is. Acquired for Daniel Norris, former Toronto Blue Jay from the Brewers a few years ago.
1-2. Just outside. The Van Man.
That's right. Of course. The rare major leaguer to decide to live in a van.
Olson originally a Brewer pick. 2-2. Springer reaches out and pokes it on the ground to third. Picked up by Gio Urshela, who tosses it over to first. 1 down.
And really, that's the exact kind of trade that teams dream about, that sellers dream about making this time of year, where you trade Daniel Norris, who at the time was a lefty reliever, to Milwaukee. You get back an unknown starting pitching prospect. Lo and behold, a few years later, Olson, along with Tarek Skubal, along with Jackson Jobe, who's coming up in their system, really creating optimism around a potential strong Tigers rotation.
Olson's first pitch to Spencer Horwitz misses outside, 1-0. 1 out and the base is empty, no score, bottom of the first. The wind of the pitch. Hit on the ground, foul, right side. With this start today, Olsen has now started in more games this year than he did last year, although he pitched 3 times out of the bullpen last season as well. So 21 games last year. This is his 19th start this year. 1-1 pitch hit foul, 1-2. And at 24 years old, he'll turn 25 in 10 days. He's been really good, probably better than his numbers even. He had 2 big blow-up starts at the beginning of June. Other than that, he has shut down everyone he's seen.
And this is without the benefit of an elite defense behind him. This is as he's learning on the job. So a lot of positives here for the Tigers with this young starter.
Steps to the side, kicks and delivers. And Horwitz takes away to even up the count at 2-2. Blue Jays saw Olsen on May 25th in Detroit. He went 6 1/3, allowed 3 hits and 1 unearned run. 2-2. Outside again, full count. That was actually the start where Olsen picked up his first win of the season. It was remarkable. He went 9 starts without a win despite an earned run average around 2. Now the 3-2 to Horwitz is low, and he takes a walk here in the first.
Nice job by Spencer Horwitz right there to find a way to get on base and get something started potentially for the Blue Jays. We've seen so much from from Spencer Horwitz in his time in the major leagues. Just a consistent, disciplined approach that allows him to keep that on-base percentage high.
He's now been on base in 27 of 29 starts he's made this season, playing in his 34th game overall. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. about to step in. They'll reset the clock. So Vladdy steps out and back in. White uniforms today for the Blue Jays, grays for the Tigers. Guerrero looking out at Olsen, who pitches from the stretch. First pitch, strike. That was the slider from Olsen, which he throws more often than any other pitch. He has a 4-seam fastball, a changeup, a sinking fastball, and rarely flips in a curve. The 0-1. Swing and a looper down the right field line. This could be trouble. That ball's down for a hit. Horwitz making the turnaround second. He'll get into third standing up. It's a single for Guerrero, and runners on the corners with 1 out.
And a good read right there by Spencer Horwitz as he was able to see that ball to his right, and he could tell that it was going to land in front of Perez. So he rounds second, makes it all the way to third base right now, and Justin Turner with an RBI opportunity here. Runners on the corners, just 1 out.
Perez really slowed up on that ball. Saw it a little yesterday. I think some of the young outfielders for the Tigers may be wary of the turf here in Toronto that a lot of them haven't played on in their career. You mentioned a big shot for Justin Turner, who's batting now from the right side. First and third, 1 out. No score, the pitch. Fouled off to the right, 0-1. Next RBI for Turner would be his 30th. He's batting .231 this year, 15 doubles and 5 homers. Olsen sets at his chest, looking at Turner. A long look in the pitch. Low, 1-1. Infield at double play depth, they'll try to turn 2 to avoid a run scoring. With 1 out, the 1-1 pitch. Swinging a bouncing ball to third, picked up by Urshela. Starts the turn to second, over to first, double play to end the inning. 5-4-3. The Tigers turn it. They strand Spencer Horwitz on third, and it's no runs for the Blue Jays in the first, despite a hit. We go to the second in a scoreless game. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The 152nd Open Championship is on SiriusXM Channel 92.
Yes! You beauty! Unbelievable! Standing ovation.
Exclusive coverage of golf's final major of the year continues tomorrow morning at 4 Eastern.
That is Scottish golf. That is the home of golf, and that is true, proper links golf.
Listen to the Open Championship from Royal Troon on Open Radio, Channel 92 in the car, and on the all-new SiriusXM app.
The Busted Open podcast is now available on YouTube. This is Dave LaGreca, host of Busted Open, the #1 pro wrestling show on the planet. You can now watch and listen to the award-winning Busted Open podcast every single day on YouTube. Our best interviews, behind-the-scenes access, and some of our best content from the past. All available right now when you go to youtube.com/@BustedOpenPodcast. Subscribe right now.
The NASCAR Cup Series is on SiriusXM. We're back on the track Sunday,
1:30 p.m. Eastern.
It's the Brickyard 400, presented by PPG from Indianapolis Motor Speedway on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio Channel 90, in the car, and on the all-new SiriusXM app. Get closer to everything that moves you, wherever you are, with the SiriusXM app.
Let's make some smoke and drink some beer. Yeah!
24/7, 365 coverage of all things NASCAR. All things NASCAR happens exclusively on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio Channel 90.
Sportsnet Radio Network.
The second inning is presented by Bet365. At Bet365, you can bet live in-game on game props, totals, and the money line. Download the app and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 19+, play responsibly. Ontario only. Welcome back to downtown Toronto. No score, top of the second. Jake Rogers, the catcher, leads off for the Tigers. First pitch. Called, strike one. Yusei Kikuchi on the mound for the Blue Jays threw 19 pitches in the first inning. 2 hits really extended that frame, although he's been all over the strike zone so far. Next offering. Hit on the ground to third, backhanded by Guerrero. Gets up. Throw on to first, a little high, but within the grasp of Spencer Horwitz for the first out.
Well, we saw Vlad Jr. taking ground balls at third before the game to get ready for situations just like this. And this was a relatively straightforward play. Gets the ball with plenty of time and unloads the throw over to Horwitz that was a little high. And Horwitz had to stretch out every inch of his frame to make sure that that ball did not escape his grasp. But it all adds up to an out.
So Rogers retired. Here's Javier Baez, the shortstop for the Tigers. Kikuchi's pitch. Swing and a foul back. Huge hack by Baez. 0-1. Veteran middle infielder has struggled this season, also dealt with injuries, but batting 179 on the year, 1 home run in 59 games. 0-1. Down and away. You don't have to go very far back for Javier Baez to be one of the game's premier middle infielders. Faces a 1-1. Outside 2-1. But almost since he signed that 6-year, $140 million deal with the Tigers, things have just not worked out for him.
They really haven't. He's still a fun defensive player to watch, but offensively it has really fallen off, and he just expands so much. 2-1 pitch, called strike. He can still run the bases well, one of the craftier base runners that you'll see, but he does not have a disciplined approach. I mean, it's on the far extreme other end of that spectrum.
And when you mention the base running, I think of the El Mago Magnifico play where he hits the ball to first and he runs to first and then he backpedals to
Against
the plate. To force a run down. 2-2. Swing and a miss. Got him on a back foot slider. That's the second strikeout of the day for Yusei Kikuchi. Now 2 down.
Good execution there by Kikuchi to get Baez to expand the zone, as the Blue Jays are certainly aware of his tendencies when it comes to swinging.
So after the Baez strikeout, Gio Urshela is up. First pitch. Check swing, called strike. Good day for Urshela yesterday. 2 hits and a run scored, including the first hit of the game. Batting .256 on the season, 4 homers, 30 RBIs. 0-1. Hit off the end of the bat, foul, 0-2. We mentioned a little bit yesterday, some scouts around, a lot of talk around trade targets, including Yusei Kikuchi. Gio Urshela could be one of those guys as well. 0-2 in the dirt.
Yeah, even more scouts here today. As you would anticipate, Yusei Kikuchi on the mound. And not only him, but you have relievers coming into this game. You have bench players, the likes of Carson Kelly and Mark Hanna, who could be traded. And, of course, Gio Urshela in that mix, too.
All three of those Tigers you mentioned on expiring contracts. 1-2. Urshela foul tips it into the glove. Strike three. 97 from Kikuchi. And back-to-back strikeouts and a 1-2-3 top of the second. Danny Jansen will hit for Toronto next. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Timber Mart is Canada's building center, a solid neighbor to call upon when you've got a job to do. Your dependable home improvement store that offers the added value of Air Miles reward miles with every purchase of $15 or more. Visit timbermart.ca.
So, you want to be a Looney Dogger, eh? Every Tuesday Blue Jays home game is Looney Dogs Night, presented by Schneider's. Grab $1 hot dogs from various concession stands around Rogers Center. Plus, stop by the Schneider's Porch, your hot dog headquarters. The destination for a one-of-a-kind hot dog experience with excellent ballpark views. So, whether you're the relish ringleader or seventh-inning snacker, no Blue Jays game is complete without hot dogs. Don't miss out on this delicious deal. Looney Dogs Night, presented by Schneider's. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
We're twomenintruck.ca. We've got lots of men and lots of trucks, so get ready to be moved.
Think 2 men in a truck, 2 men in a truck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day. Think 2 men in a truck, 2 men in a truck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, 2 men in a truck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks, so give us a call today.
Timber Mart always has plans to help you with your plans. Your home, your cottage, your garage, whatever needs your attention first, check the most visited spot on our website for ready-to-order plans to get the job done with Canada's Building Center. Visit timbermart.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Varsho smashes the ball to right field. It's gone!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Home half of the second inning. Blue Jays up to bat against Reese Olson. No score. Toronto and Detroit. Danny Jansen leading off. Here's the pitch. High, ball one. Thanks for tuning in today. Hope your Saturday's going well. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Ben Nicholson-Smith. Olson facing the plate now, turns and fires. And Jansen reluctantly goes around on a slider in the dirt. 1-1. First action of the second half for Danny Jansen. Had the day off yesterday. 1-1. Swinging a liner left field. Foul. Rocketed into the seats just over the netting down the left field line.
Jansen saw a changeup he liked and got right out in front of it, as he tends to do, but a little too far in front of that
one. 1-2. Swinging a flare. Hit to first base. Caught there by Mark Canha. One down.
Now batting, number 25, Dalton Varsho.
Let's welcome our future announcer, presented by Rogers, 10-year-old Jakob from Toronto, with a little bit of extra sauce on that Dalton Varsho introduction.
That was great.
Varsho up to the plate with one out, bases empty. Right on left pitch. Strike one. A hit yesterday for Varsho. His average at .203 right now. 15 doubles, 6 triples, 11 homers. 0-1. Low. 1 ball, 1 strike. That was the seldom seen curveball from Reese Olson.
Mix in, 4 or 5 of those a game?
Something like that. Throws it about 5% of the time. 1-1. High, 2-1. And if you're going to see it, you're going to see it against the left-handed hitter for Reese Olson. That's where he throws more four-seamers and curves, a little bit more sinker slider to righties. 2-1. Called strike. Fastball might have been a hair inside, but Olson gets the benefit there to even up the count at 2-2. Varsho brings the bat above his left shoulder, looking out at the right-handed starter. Here's the pitch. Down and in, ball 3. They roll the ball back to the third base dugout. Olsen asks for a new one. That ball went just by Davis Schneider, who's swinging on deck. Base is empty, 1 down. No score, bottom 2. Payoff pitch. Outside, ball 4. Good take there by Varsho on a changeup that just missed.
Now batting, number 36, Davis Snyder.
Again, that's our future announcer, presented by Rogers, 10-year-old Jakob from Toronto. As he mentioned, here's Davis Schneider with a runner on first and 1 out. Olsen from the stretch, kicks and fires. Up and in, ball 1.
Wonder if this could be a running situation for Dalton Varsho. One of the more aggressive Blue Jays on the bases this year, along with George Springer. Scoreless game still. Chance to get something going perhaps with 1 out.
9 stolen bases for Varsho. 1-0. Down and away, a dive from Rogers to keep it in front of him. Those 9 stolen bases tied with George Springer for most on the team. Now Springer is a perfect 9 for 9. Varsho has been caught twice, but still 9 for 11 is a good ratio.
The Jays have been better on the bases this year.
(2-0) in there, 2-1. Do you think just in terms of stolen bases, or are you talking more in general?
Just overall, last year it seemed as though they were getting caught trying to take that extra base more often than they should. And if you looked at the numbers, they definitely bore that out.
2-1 pitch. Swinging a bouncing ball to third. Picked up by Urshela. Throws to second one. Over to first. Inning-ending double play. 5-4-3 ends a second straight Blue Jays offensive inning. And we go scoreless into the third. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
We're 2 men and a truck. So, you're moving to a new home, and all that's left to do is to call a mover you know you can trust. Well, naturally, you think 2 men and a truck, since you know they have lots of men and lots of trucks. They'll wrap, pack, and move everything you own. With a 96% referral rating and the professionalism you can trust, the choice is simple. For a free in-home estimate, call today. We're 2 men and a truck.
2 men and a truck, the movers who care.
Hi, I'm Buck Martinez, live from the showdown between Pizza Pizza and inflation. First to the plate, Pizza Pizza's big hitter, fixed rate pizza. An extra large 4-topping pizza for a fixed price of $17.99 until the end of 2024. I dare say, folks, inflation stands no chance against this all-star. Here's the delivery. And inflation strikes out. That's a swing and a drive for fixed rate pizza. Lock in yours today.
Order pizzapizza.ca.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we introduced in-game betting. Because when the game starts, the action doesn't stop. With in-game betting, you can wager on game props, player props, totals, and the money line. And remember, in-game, you can track your same-day parlay with the option to cash out. Check out in-game betting and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Must be 19 years or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Middle in fastball, but he puts it by Cruz. 2 down.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Still no score. Third inning at Rogers Center. Tigers and Blue Jays. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Ben Nicholson-Smith. Yusei Kikuchi on the mound. His first pitch gets by Ryan Valade. A foul tip. First strike 1. 2 strong innings so far for Kikuchi. He has given up 2 singles, but struck out 3. 0-1. Hit foul over the netting behind home plate. Nothing in 2. And I had mentioned briefly last inning, filling up the zone. Ben, Kikuchi's thrown 25 strikes in 32 pitches.
That is quite a ratio. Normally you'll see 60, 63% strikes across baseball. That's closer to 80%.
0-2 in the dirt. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And that was part of the struggle we had mentioned off the top. Kikuchi's last start against Arizona, he did seem to lose command. He walked 3 in that start. 1-2. Hit off the handle, a looper toward left, charging in Varsho, catches it head high for the first out.
And Varsho made that look easy, but that's not an easy play. That was just a little flare off the bat of Valade, but Varsho able to accelerate so quickly, put his speed to good use, and make that play look simple when it wasn't.
Good one for Varsho, and now the top of the order back up for the Tigers. Here's Andy Ibanez, the second baseman. First pitch in the dirt. Third inning is brought to you by the local family-owned Crown Rust Control Centers in Ajax, Whitby, and Oshawa. Protect your vehicle from rust today. Find your local family-owned Crown at crown.com. Canada's #1 rust protection. Kikuchi behind Ibanez. Here's the 1-0. Popped up, foul territory, first base side. Horwitz ranging back toward the side warning track, but it's into the second row. And that'll make it 1-1. Interesting development as this top of the third continues. In the right field bullpen, Alex Faedo is getting loose for the Tigers. Reese Olson's thrown 2 innings so far and hardly over 20 pitches. 1-1 pitch, high, 2-1. Now, occasionally guys get in work, so we won't jump to any conclusions yet, but that is interesting at least.
It definitely is. Yeah, because
2-1. Hit on the ground at third, vacuumed up by Guerrero. Tosses over to first in time, 2 down.
Another nice play by Vlad Jr. right there. But it's not every day that you would see that happen. Occasionally, as you said, you'll see someone get their work in, but it'll be interesting to see if Reese Olson does come out or if for some reason he's going to have to exit this game despite being quite effective against the Blue Jays in the first 2.
And Faedo got throwing off the mound pretty quick, which leads me toward him being in this game. The pitch to Justin Henry Malloy, called strike. 2 outs, base is empty, no score, top of the third inning. Infield shifted to pull against right-handed hitting Malloy. A 1 pitch outside.
On that ground ball, Guerrero Jr. able to make the play. Didn't look especially smooth or comfortable picking it up, but has the arm strength to get the ball over there very quickly.
1-1. Hit off the handle, foul, 1-2. Almost looked like it popped out of his glove, but into his bare hand, like it was half a transfer and maybe half a little bit of luck. But he stayed composed to make the play. The 1-2 now. Low, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And it can be a good thing for the Blue Jays and for Vlad Guerrero Jr. to just develop that familiarity, get some of those reps in. They're not a half game out of a wild card at this point, so this is a chance to develop that skill set.
2-2. Lined foul right side and caught by the attendant down the right field line. Still a foul ball, 2-2.
It's a big league play.
Shoestring catch. But yeah, you mentioned that for Vlad. It's interesting as we talk about, Leo Jimenez is at short, Davis Schneider's at second. Those guys are developing, but this could be something the Blue Jays look to in the future if they like Vlad at third. 2-2, down and in, full count. What do you think it would do for the Blue Jays going forward if they felt comfortable with him there?
I think it's a good thing. I've always been on the put Vlad Jr. at third on occasion train because it just gives you more options. Maybe it's late in games. Maybe it's once or twice every month.
3-2. Down and in, ball 4. Malloy takes 2-out walk.
Clearly, Vlad Guerrero Jr. is a first baseman. He's won a Gold Glove there. No one's saying that he's going to make a full-time position change, but you never know what injuries might pop up in the course of a season, who might be available at a future trade deadline. If you're able to put him at third comfortably, I think it does open up some different options for you.
Guerrero playing deep at third as Matt Vierling comes up to the plate. Runner on first is Justin Henry Malloy. 2 down, and Yusei Kikuchi steps off.
But this is not the infield that we probably would have predicted even a couple months ago, right? To have Horwitz, Schneider, Jimenez, and Vlad Jr. rounding things out around the infield.
Kikuchi's pitch. Vierling hits it foul behind home plate, 0-1. Well, with the Tigers here, it makes me think of how they famously moved Miguel Cabrera over to third base after he had not been at that position for really a while, because they brought Prince Fielder in an offseason. They had Victor Martinez, now Blue Jays coach, already as well. 0-1, swing and a miss, 0-2. And because Martinez was essentially a full-time DH, they wouldn't have been able to utilize Fielder had they not been able to put Cabrera at third.
Yeah, and at a certain point, you can be willing to take that defensive hit. The Phillies come to mind with Castellanos and Schwarber and Harper.
0-2. Check swing, pitch was high, appeal to first, no swing, says Jeremy Riggs, first base on.
And even this Blue Jays team, they're trying to get offense. They're trying to get Davis Schneider in there. It's not a great offensive team. We all have seen that this season. But to the extent that they can get offense, that's what they're trying to accomplish right now with this configuration.
0-0 game, top of 3. The 1-2. Low and away, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Kikuchi licks his fingers, wipes them off on the back of his pants, and looks into the plate. Runner on first is Malloy. A look at Malloy and the pitch home. Fouled off to the right. Beerling's put up a fight. He's seen 6 pitches already in this at-bat.
That takes Yusei to 50 pitches on the afternoon. So still on track to be able to give the Blue Jays about 6 innings if all goes well.
Well-rested pen for Toronto as well with the All-Star break. 2-2 again. Called strike 3. Dropped the slider in at the knees to freeze Beerling for his 4th strikeout of the day and another scoreless frame. Leads on Malloy, the 2-out walk, and sends us to the bottom of the 3rd in a 0-0 game. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
It's been a year of superstars.
Clark, logo 3.
And historic viewership in women's sports.
We saw Nebraska put a volleyball match in a football stadium and have over 90,000 people attend.
SiriusXM has brought together an all-star roster of our female hosts to talk about this moment in women's sports.
We should just allow the athletes to not necessarily talk about being a trailblazer, just allowing it to happen.
Here's Shattering Ceilings 2024 in women's sports, right now on the SiriusXM app.
Are you regretting eating that gas station hot dog? Yeah, we know. We've been there too. This is a message for baseball fans like you. Did you know that you get a channel that's talking baseball 24/7 as part of your SiriusXM subscription?
What?
Our lineup includes shows hosted by former...
What's up, insiders? This community continues to grow like crazy, all because of you guys sharing this link out on the social networks, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, however you have it. And check us out while you're at it, and make sure to drop a follow at TS_insider on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. Thank you guys for your support in building this community. Let's make it even bigger and even better as we head into hockey season coming up in a couple of months. We'll see you guys in the chat. Go Blue Jays, go.
And every morning on the SiriusXM app.
Fantasy football players, learn winning strategies right now on Fantasy Sports Radio to help you draft a winning team on Channel 87 and on the SiriusXM app.
Welcome to the Timbermart broadcast booth. Don't strike out on your next home improvement project. Your team at Timbermart has the great advice and the products you need, so you'll get the job done right. Knock it out of the park and win the day with Timbermart, Canada's building center. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Ben Nicholson-Smith. Show Ali is our host today. Nick Blackmore, producer. Andrew Adams and Tom Young, our technical directors. Bottom of the 3rd and a new pitcher for the Detroit Tigers. Warming up in the top half of the inning, Alex Faedo now enters in the home half of the 3rd, ending the day of Reese Olson after just 2 innings.
This is a surprising one. As you guessed, once we saw him in the bullpen, this did in fact mean that Faedo is coming into this game. Olson pitched effectively. He allowed a couple of walks and a hit, but certainly no alarm bells. We'll have to see if the Tigers share any updates there, whether there's something physical going on or a different reason for him leaving the game. But at this point, the Jays have 7 innings against this Tigers bullpen. That shapes up for an opportunity for their offense.
And they have a very rested bullpen, obviously, as well with the break. But the Tigers did use 5 different relievers yesterday to beat the Blue Jays 5-4. So there's a high likelihood of some guys on back-to-backs today. We'll see what unfolds. We start the third, though, with Leo Jimenez batting against righty Alex Faedo. First at-bat of the day for the Blue Jays shortstop. Here's the pitch. Strike one. For Faedo, his 29th appearance, a 3.5 earned run average. Slider, four-seamer, changeup, and very rare sinker. 0-1. Called strike right on the outside edge with the breaking ball. It's 0-2. Righty set at the belt. Kicks and delivers. Down and away. For Leo Jimenez, it's been a great, albeit brief, start to his major league career. This is his 10th game. He's 8 for 23, a .348 average so far. 1-2. Down and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, he's looked good. He has not looked out of place really for one moment.
And he's been the youngest of all of these guys to come up for the Blue Jays, 23 years old. 2-2. Swing and a miss. Got him on a fastball on the outside edge. First strikeout of the day for Faedo. When you support Jays Care 50/50, you're giving thousands of kids in your community the chance to be a part of a life-changing program. Proceeds from each ticket sold help to get more kids off the sidelines and into the games. At the end of this homestand, you could take home over $200,000. Visit bluejays.com/5050 to get your tickets from Ontario or Nova Scotia. Kevin Kiermaier up, and he takes the first pitch high and outside for ball 1. Urshela in from third base, the 1-0. Swing and a miss. Out in front there on an off-speed pitch, it was the slider, 1-1.
Yeah, Kiermaier a little bit fooled on that one. Looked like he was expecting the heater from Faedo.
Right on left, next offering. Swing and a miss. That time it was the changeup from Faedo, and it's 1-2.
The off-speed stuff is working.
And Kiermaier's seen a ton of that this year. He crushed fastballs last year, and pitchers seem to have adjusted to that and given him less heaters. 1-2. Foul tipped, but not held on to actually by Rogers, so it'll just go down as a foul ball, and Kiermaier stays alive.
That time it was the fastball. Kiermaier seemingly in swing mode here, so in a tough position, of course. The count advantage in the hands of the Tigers right here. He's got to be disciplined, but protect at the same time.
Another 1-2. Swing and a foul back. That was a fastball left over the middle of the plate, a little bit up in the zone. Kiermaier just missed it. Center fielder was 1 for 3 yesterday with a single, a run scored, and a pair of strikeouts. Batting .191 on the season, 5 doubles and 4 homers. 1-2 again. Popped up left side of the infield. Urshela appears to be under it. Third baseman waves his glove hand and makes the catch. 2 outs. That flips over the order for George Springer, who continued his red-hot streak yesterday. A 2-run homer for the Blue Jays that came in the 8th inning. He was 1 for 4 on the day. For Springer, that was his 11th home run of the season. First pitch from Faedo is bounced softly foul down the third baseline, 0-1.
Another big swing for Springer. It's just been a great run for him since about the middle of June, and that was a huge moment last night to just sneak it over that left field wall into the Jays bullpen.
0-1. High. A.J. Hinch was talking before the game today, a former manager of Springer's in Houston. He said that's not even where George usually hits his home runs, but found a pitch he liked and got enough on it. 1-1 pitch cut on and missed. 1-2. By that, he meant that one was really hooking down the left field line. Fell in between the bullpen and the foul netting or foul pole. But usually it's more left center, Hinch said, for Springer. 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Got him on the high heat, and Faedo pitches a 1-2-3 third with a pair of strikeouts. No scores. We go to the 4th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The WNBA is on Sirius XM.
That's her toughest shot of the game, and she got it to go.
Every week, hear some of the best matchups throughout the league on NBA Radio Channel 86 and ESPN Extra Channel 81.
Later tonight, it's the WNBA All-Star Game as Team USA plays Team WNBA at 8:30 Eastern on ESPN Extra Channel 81.
For a complete schedule of WNBA games on Sirius XM, go to SiriusXM.com/sports.
It's fantasy football season, because we say it is.
Travis Kelce, touchdown!
From fantasy football strategies to players you need to draft or avoid.
Christian McCaffrey is one of the riskiest #1 overall picks in fantasy football history.
Fantasy Sports Radio is your home to win.
There is no bigger value today than Dak Prescott.
If you're not preparing for the 2024 fantasy football season, you're already losing. Channel 87 and on the all-new Sirius XM app.
Nobody covers the National Football League like Sirius XM NFL Radio.
Mahomes fires it late for the end zone. Caught! Touchdown!
Stay updated with the latest news leading up to training camps.
We don't care about expectations. Talk doesn't win games.
Our panel of experts is getting you ready for the 2024 season.
The more I watch this guy, the more I like him.
There's a story for every team on Sirius XM NFL Radio Channel 88 in the car and on the all-new Sirius XM app.
Ray Hudson here with an important announcement. You can listen to your favorite Sirius XM FC shows on the all-new Sirius XM app, now available for all subscribers.
And the Sportsnet Radio Network.
It's the 4th inning, presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app for today's baseball odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 19 plus, play responsibly, Ontario only. First pitch of the 4th is inside to Mark Canha, 1-0. Sun pouring over Rogers Center, just a strip of shade going from the left center to right center gaps. Packed house here in a scoreless game, top of the 4th. 1-0 pitch in there, 1-1. Welcome to the Timbermart broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Ben Nicholson-Smith. It's hot today.
It's nice in here.
It's great in here.
I'm glad we're in the shade.
1-1. High and outside, 2-1. General rule of thumb is it's about 5 degrees cooler in here no matter what it is out there, which often is good, occasionally gets a little bit chilly. Can be a problem in September. 2-1. Called strike, 2-2.
It can definitely get chilly in here. And I can tell you, just having been on field level right before first pitch, it's definitely hotter down there. Like it feels really hot, and the turf can kind of reflect some of that heat back up right around field level. It's definitely hot for these players right now.
2-1. Called strike 3. Pardon me, the 2-2, and it was a slider that hit the bottom of the zone. That's a 5th strikeout for Kikuchi. Another one on the slider. 1 out here in the top of the 4th.
Mark Canha does not like that call, and he is letting Nestor Ceja know about it. And the umpire just gestured to Canha. That's enough. We don't want to hear any more about it, but that's a veteran hitter with a really good sense of the zone who did not like that call.
At least according to the strike box, that would have been a strike. First pitch to Wenzel Perez, fouled back, 0-1. Albeit a borderline strike, but it looked like it got a little bit of the zone.
Yeah, it's a fair call. It wasn't a bad call. I can understand why Mark Canha doesn't like it, but a totally justified call, and Kikuchi made a great pitch.
0-1. Hit on the ground to short, on the run, picked up by Jimenez. Slows up, throws to first, 2 down. While it is hot today, there is some wind at Rogers Center, so much so that the banners are blowing. One of the banners has become tangled up in the catwalks out there in left field. Two down now. Jake Rogers at the plate, the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 1. Bases are empty. There's no score in the road half of the 4th. Rogers hitting for the 2nd time. Grounded out to 3rd in the 2nd. The 0-1. Just outside with a slider, 1 ball, 1 strike.
And you may have heard it in the background there, but Reese Olson just left the start with right shoulder soreness.
1-1 pitch fouled off, 1-2. If you weren't with us a second ago, Olson came out before the bottom of the 3rd inning. They went to reliever Alex Faedo. That's obviously concerning for the Tigers, as he's one of their prized young players, just 24 years old. The Tigers still kind of on the fringes right now. Likely a seller, as we mentioned yesterday. 1-2. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Kikuchi gets him on a fastball, and he has 6 strikeouts in 4 scoreless innings. Bottom of the 4th coming up next. Spencer Horwitz leading off, searching for our first run of the game. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Hi, I'm Buck Martinez, live from the showdown between pizza, and inflation. First to the plate, with over 2 million sold, it's Fixed Rate Pizza, a hot and fresh extra-large 4-topping pizza for a fixed price of $17.99 until the end of 2024. Here's the delivery. And inflation strikes out. That's a swing and a drive for Fixed Rate Pizza. Lock in yours today.
Pizza.ca. Carnival is at the core of Toronto culture. Stand out in the crowd with your Blue Jays neon hat giveaway. The colors, the music, the heat, the vibes.
I don't know who's having more fun, the players or the fans.
Be at Rogers Center as the Blue Jays celebrate Caribbean Carnival and create core memories of summer in the city.
Everybody's feeling good right now.
Arrive early on Friday, July 26th, and claim your Blue Jays neon hat. Blue Jays Caribbean Carnival. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we introduced in-game betting. Because when the game starts, the action doesn't stop. With in-game betting, you can wager on game props, player props, totals, and the money line. And remember, in-game, you can track your same-day parlay with the option to cash out. Check out in-game betting and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Must be 19 years or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. A 1-2-3 inning for Richards as he strikes out the side.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Bottom of the 4th at Rogers Center, 0-0, Tigers and Blue Jays. Spencer Horwitz leading off. Alex Faedo kicks and fires home. Strike 1. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Ben Nicholson-Smith. Horwitz, the closest of anyone to scoring a run so far in this game, walked in the 1st and was stranded at 3rd. 0-1. Foul back, 0-2. .34th game for Horwitz. It's still a small sample, but it's still an impressive .429 on base percentage. He'll ask for time now and kick some dirt out in the box. That's going to give Faedo a second to go to the Rosenbach.
Really good start to the day for Yusei Kikuchi. He enjoyed that last strikeout of Jake Rogers. Little celebration after that one.
Deep knee bend. 0-2 is hit foul in the air down the left field line. Still 0-2.
And as he should. Yusei Kikuchi has pitched really well this season. He's had a great Blue Jays tenure here, especially the last year and a half. Pitching in front of a full house. This might be his last or second last start for the Blue Jays.
0-2. High, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Depending on how the next 10 days unfold. So it's a chance for him to perform in front of a crowd that I think has really embraced Yusei Kikuchi and everything that he's been able to do for this team.
The pitch. Swing and a looper to center field. Vierling ranging toward left center makes the catch. 1 out. Not only have they embraced Kikuchi, but probably the same could be said the other way. Kikuchi spent time this offseason in Toronto, has really seemed to connect with the community. And so, yeah, a guy likely to get traded, but I think someone that has become very, very popular.
He has, and he'll be a good pickup for someone else. That's part of the reason that teams are scouting this game.
Here's Vladimir Guerrero Jr. with 1 out. Swings at the first pitch and bounces it into the Blue Jays' third base dugout. 0-1. There was a report recently from MLB's John Paul Morosi about potentially the Blue Jays thinking about moving guys that aren't just expiring in 2024. Swing and a miss by Vlad, 0-2. There was no one specific exactly named, but one of those guys is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I don't think either of us see that coming, but that was what the report said.
Yeah, I really don't think Vlad Jr. is going anywhere. He is too important to this team.
0-2. Hit foul over the netting.
Doesn't mean teams won't try.
And it doesn't mean they won't listen.
Right.
Kind of a requirement almost of a job as a general manager or front office member is to at least take calls. Everyone has some sort of price. 0-2. Again, fouled off by Vlad.
Exactly. If Brian Cashman or Andrew Friedman calls, you're not blocking their number. You're not hanging up. You take the call, and then you keep Vlad Jr. Now, where I could see the Blue Jays moving some players who aren't free agents could be guys like a Chad Green or an Isaiah Kiner-Falefa.
0-2. Way upstairs. Vlad ducks his head out of the way. Frozen like a statue right now. He finally peeks back and starts to move.
And those players are sure to generate some interest ahead of the trade deadline. Again, the Blue Jays, from everything that I've been told, want to win next year. So they hope to be competitive in 2025. But if there's a trade that can help them get there, they'd be open to it.
1-2 pitches outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, you really got to get into the fine print sometimes with a report like that, too, because Trevor Richards is a guy who's not expiring, and he could get traded. 2-2. Down and away, ball 3. And you mentioned guys like Green and Kiner-Falefa. You'll see that report, and often you might see a picture of Vlad or of Bo Bichette, but it doesn't necessarily mean those are the guys that are moving.
In fact, again, just to reiterate, really don't expect either one of those guys to be traded.
3-2. Guerrero hits it on the ground right side. Long run for the second baseman, Ibanez. It's past him into right field. 2-hit day for Guerrero. He has both Blue Jays hits so far. He's on first.
And you see it right there. He's just so important to this team. There's also a chance to potentially have extension talks with Vlad Guerrero Jr. We'll see how that unfolds. But regardless, he's here for this year. You still have him next year. If your goal is to win in 2025, that's a lot easier if Vlad Guerrero Jr. is hitting third for you. So, that's why, not just myself, but in talking to people in the industry, the expectation is that he will not be traded.
First pitch to Justin Turner, outside, ball 1. No score, Guerrero on first, bottom of the 4th, and 1 out. In a sec, we'll go to the out-of-town scoreboard. A couple of finals already today in Major League Baseball. 1-0. Foul tipped, 1-1. Our out-of-town scoreboard is brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill. Devilishly good since Toronto first raised the trophy in '92. Join them for wings, ribs, beer, cocktails, and catch every play at your local St. Louis Bar and Grill. Download the app or visit stlouiswings.com for more details. Always devilishly good. 1-1. Down and away, 2-1. Anything sticking out to you? I know that there's already a final today in the Bronx Bend. The Rays beat the Yankees 9-1 to even up that series. 2-1 pitch. Inside, 3 balls and 1 strike.
Yeah, that's a big one. Taj Bradley was really good, pitching 7 innings, shutout baseball against the Yankees, and a big offensive day for Randy Arozarena. 2 home runs, 4 for 5 on the afternoon.
And a lot of arms crossed poses, I'd imagine, for Randy Arozarena.
I would think at least 2.
Yeah. Rays get back to 500 with that win. They've just kind of been floating around 500 for a while. 3-1. Check swing, called strike. Just got the bottom of the zone, did Faedo to make it a full count for Justin Turner.
And it was Nestor Cortes pitching in that one for the Yankees. He allowed 6 runs on 8 hits, just didn't have his good stuff. He's been really good for them this year, but questions continue in that Yankees rotation.
3-2, Guerrero takes off from first, and Turner just throws his bat at the ball to foul it off to the right. Not sure if that was more of a hit and run where Turner had to swing, or a run and hit where he had the option. Usually you won't make a guy have to swing on a full count, but we'll see if Vlad's off from first again. He does go again on 3-2, and the pitch is called strike 3. Throw down to second, and they get Guerrero. Strike him out, throw him out, double play. Ends the fourth inning. No runs on a hit for the Blue Jays. Nobody left. No score as we go to the fifth. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
There's a channel that explodes with gritty guitar texture and perfect pop melodies. SiriusXM Pop Rocks serves up those undeniable 90s anthems, 2K hits, and today's fresh pop finds. Pop Rocks. Turn it up now on Channel 6 and on the SiriusXM app.
It's fantasy football season, because we say it is.
Travis Kelce, touchdown!
From fantasy football strategies to players you need to draft or avoid.
Christian McCaffrey is one of the riskiest #1 overall picks in fantasy football history.
Fantasy Sports Radio is your home to win.
There is no bigger value today than Dak Prescott.
If you're not preparing for the 2024 fantasy football season, you're already losing. Channel 87 and on the all-new SiriusXM app.
I'm John Paul Morosi, host of the SiriusXM original podcast, The Road to Cooperstown. Each week, I talk with a Baseball Hall of Famer about the challenges they overcame to become an all-time great.
It is a hard game, and mentally it's hard.
My legs started shaking.
They pretty much knew I was going to have lung surgery after the season. I wasn't for sure. Would I ever play baseball again?
The Road to Cooperstown is the official podcast of the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum. Episodes are available now on the all-new SiriusXM app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Good to see you guys back at training camp.
The 2024 NFL Radio Training Camp Tour is coming right here on Channel 88 and the all-new SiriusXM app.
Sportsnet Radio Network.
It's the fifth inning, brought to you by Desjardins Financial Group. Desjardins awarded another 150 grants worth $20,000 each to entrepreneurs across Canada. See how Desjardins cheered on small biz at goodsparkgrants.ca. Scoreless game, top of the fifth, starts with a pitch to Javi Baez. Huge rip and a miss. 0-1. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Ben Nicholson-Smith. Yusei Kikuchi back on the mound after 4 scoreless innings with 2 hits and a walk allowed. His 0-1. Swing and a miss, 0-2. Baez struck out on a slider in the second, one of 6 Kikuchi strikeouts today. Lefty rocks and delivers. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Got him to chase the high fastball and make that a 7th K for Kikuchi on just 3 pitches. He gets Baez for the first out of the 5th.
He totally overmatched Javi Baez right here. Nice high target from Danny Jansen. An off-balance swing. Completely awkward swing from Javi Baez. And a nice strikeout by Yusei Kikuchi.
65 pitches for Kikuchi through 4 1/3. Here's his first offering to Gio Urshela. Swing and a miss, strike 1.
And it's that swing and miss stuff that makes Yusei Kikuchi an appealing trade candidate. If you're going into October, you need swing and miss from your staff.
Next pitch, swing and a miss. And it's 0-2.
And Kikuchi is dialing in his top line stuff right here. The Tigers are not able to connect. And to be fair, this is not a playoff caliber offense. But any scout watching this game is going to like that swing and miss.
0-2. Fouled off. Do you think for Kikuchi, he's done this in the past, the ability to be in your rotation in the season and then maybe move to your pen in the playoffs is intriguing to teams?
Absolutely.
0-2. Check swing, pitch was low. He did hold back. 1-2.
And for Blue Jays fans, how everything unfolded in Game 2 of the Wild Card Series in Minnesota is a painful memory. But Yusei Kikuchi, he did his part. He didn't take Jose Barrios out of that game. So that is a skill set he has.
1-2. Low, 2 balls and 2 strikes. And the year prior when he had struggled in the rotation, he did go to the pen and actually provide them with a lot of good innings. Blue Jays did not have the same depth in left-handed relievers in 22 as they had in 23. 2-2, swing and a miss, strike 3. 8 Ks for Yusei Kikuchi. 15 swings and misses today, 2 down.
Yeah, he is on. He is really on right here. This is some of his best stuff, reminiscent of the start a couple outings ago against the Giants where he struck out 13 hitters. This is really impressive from Kikuchi here in the 5th inning.
He didn't walk any when he struck out those 13 against San Francisco. He does have 1 walk today, but still very impressive to pair with the 8 strikeouts. Number 9 hitter Ryan Valade up. First pitch down and in, ball 1. Valade is playing in his 9th game of the season, his 12th game in his major league career, 3 with Colorado in 2021. 1-0. Popped up, foul, right side, into the seats. And the count's even at 1-1. Long hair for Valade, peeks out of the back of his helmet. Staring at it, Kikuchi brings the bat off his shoulder, 1-1. Lined up the middle into center, a base hit. He was all over that fastball, and that's the first hit for the Tigers since the first inning. They now have a runner on first with 2 outs.
That's the best contact we've seen from any Detroit hitters. Really nice job by Valade right there to stay on the fastball and just send it right back up the middle.
That'll prompt Danny Jansen to jog out to the mound. Over on the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard, meant to mention this yesterday, Canadian men's national team, the basketball team, played in a tune-up yesterday against France before the Olympics in France, and the Canadians beat the French, one of the top teams going into the tournament. 85-73 was the final score. RJ Barrett hit 3 threes and scored 21 points. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had 23. Kelly Olynyk and Andrew Nembhard in double figures as well.
Could they win a medal?
I think it is in the cards. I am certainly no expert on them, but they feel like a high ceiling, low floor team maybe, where they have a tough group, so that's what complicates it. First pitch to Andy Ibanez, high, ball 1. I did see there was a ranking of teams. I want to say I read an article on ESPN.com, and they were ranked 3rd, I believe, was the ranking. It was USA, Serbia, Nikola Jokic, and then Canada. 1-0. High, 2-0. But you do have, France is very talented. There's talent all over, really. I think you see in the NBA and then back into now international basketball how deep the pool of players is worldwide. Japan's Yusei Kikuchi on the mound, 2 outs, runner on first, the 2-0. Hit on the ground, down the left field line, a fair ball, rolling past third and into the left field corner. Tearing around second and now getting the wave around third is Valade. He'll score. Ball just dug out of the corner, and sliding in with a triple is Andy Ibanez to get the Tigers on the board. 1-0 Detroit.
Well, Andy Ibanez has absolutely destroyed left-handed pitching all season long. That's why he's batting leadoff for the Tigers today. And he's able to make good contact here on this one, sending it right down the third baseline. No chance for Guerrero Jr. And Dalton Varsho had to go a long way just to pick that ball up. So now it's the Tigers who have the early lead.
And Varsho initially went to pick it up. It wouldn't have prevented the run, but kind of missed it on the bare hand and went back for it. And that might have helped Ibanez to a triple. Now 1-0 Detroit. 2 outs. Justin Henry Malloy is in. With a runner on third, Kikuchi deals home. Swinging a fly ball left field. Playable for Varsho. Moving near the corner. He reaches up and makes the catch to end the inning. 2 2-out hits plate the first run of the game. The Tigers take a 1-0 lead. We're at the middle of the 5th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The 2024 Training Camp Tour kicks off Friday, July 26th with the Chicago Bears at 3 p.m. Eastern.
End zone, touchdown!
And SiriusXM NFL Radio brings you down to the field for an all-access pass to your favorite team.
You do your best to put yourself in position to get the result you want.
Everything you need to get ready for the season, with updates on position battles and exclusive interviews from all 32 teams. On NFL Radio Channel 88 and on the all-new SiriusXM app.
Hey, you. Yeah, I'm talking to you, the one that's watching the Toronto Blue Jays game with us.
Come on, hit that subscribe button. If you're a Blue Jays fan, if you're a sports fan, hit that subscribe button. Let's help grow this amazing community. It's insane. We just over 7-8 months ago, we were sitting at 6,000 subscribers, made it all the way up to 31,000 because of you. So if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, please hit that subscribe button, turn on that bell so that you don't miss any of our awesome Toronto sports action. Appreciate it. Thank you all for hitting that subscribe button and becoming an insider and part of this community. We'll see you guys in the chat. Let's go Blue Jays.
SiriusXM Channel 89. News, opinions, passionate baseball talk from former players and GMs, plus interviews with players, managers, and executives, and much, much, much more. If you can hear me right now, you've got MLB Network Radio. SiriusXM Channel 89 and on the SiriusXM app.
24/7, 365 coverage of all things NASCAR. All things NASCAR happens exclusively on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio, Channel 90.
Welcome to the Timbermark broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Ben Nicholson-Smith, Show Ali, our host, Nick Blackmore, our producer, Tom Young and Andrew Adams, our technical directors. Another new pitcher for the Tigers as we go to the bottom of the fifth. Longtime starter Kenta Maeda is in out of the bullpen as Detroit continues to grapple with the early exit of Reese Olson, who left with right shoulder soreness after 2 innings of work today. Maeda now pitching in his 18th game, an earned run average around 7. The right-hander steps back, kicks, and delivers to Danny Jansen. Foul ball, 0-1.
And this is just the second relief appearance of the season for Kenta Maeda, who has mostly been a starter for the Tigers, but just was not effective in that role, so they moved him to the bullpen.
0-1. Swing and a miss, 0-2. Saw this a little bit in Maeda's stint with the Dodgers, where he spent most of his career, where he had a couple years where there either wasn't a spot because they added someone or he struggled a little and became a very effective reliever for them, especially in the playoffs. 0-2. Inside, almost hit Jansen.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of those Dodgers teams were just so stacked there wasn't room for him. Here in Detroit, there's room for Kenta Maeda. He just hasn't performed to the level that you would need for a Major League starter.
1-2 pitch, down and away. One of his best starts of the year, though, came against the Blue Jays on May 24th. He threw 5 shutout innings, 4 hits, and no walks in a 6-2 Tigers win. 2-2 offering. Popped up, right side foul, potentially playable for the first baseman, Canna. Near the side warning track, slides, and it bounces off his glove and is down on the side warning track turf. Was going toward his own first base dugout, and I think just a little bit wary there maybe of the dugout fence. Perhaps made that play more difficult than it needed to be.
A really tough play, especially in a visiting ballpark, and Canna goes over, slides to have a better shot at seeing the ball and slowing his body down, but that's a play Vlad Jr. probably makes with his comfort here.
2-2 again. Slammed down the left field line, but foul. They could have if they wanted to, but decided not to rule that an error on Canna. By the way, there was an error scored against Dalton Varsho last inning. Andy Ibanez's RBI hit is now a double. 2-2. Fouled back. Still an earned run and still an RBI for Ibanez, but they say that the bobble by Varsho and left got Ibanez from second to third. 1-0 Tigers, bottom of the fifth. Nobody out, nobody on, and another pitch to Danny Jansen. Bouncing ball, foul down the left field line. 8 pitches already in this plate appearance.
And Maeda here, with the length that he can offer, does give the Tigers something valuable. He has, in that one previous relief appearance, he pitched 55 pitches, 3 2/3 innings, and struck out 5.
2-2 once more. Called strike 3. Borderline pitch. Looked like it might have been a little inside, but Jansen goes down for the first out of the inning. For Maeda, he's not going to overpower you with the stuff. It's really just a deep mix of pitches. Splitter, slider, four-seamer, sweeper, sinker, and sometimes a curve. Fastball will sit around 90. His pitch to Dalton Varsho. Called strike one. Very accomplished pitcher in NPB from 2018 to 2015. A 5-time All-Star. 0-1. Low 1-1. And twice won the Sawamura Award, which is the equivalent of the Cy Young. Righty winds and delivers. This is outside, 2-1.
Even last year when he was with the Twins, he struck out more than a batter per inning. So the stuff wasn't overpowering in 2023, but he was able to use it to his advantage to generate a fair amount of strikeouts.
Now the 2-1. Strike two. And that solid year is what got him the 2-year, $24 million contract he signed with the Tigers this offseason. 2-2 pitch. Fouled off to the left. In a sec, we'll look at the injury report brought to you by Bergmanis Pereira, personal injury lawyers. If life has thrown you a curveball and you're striking out with your insurance company, get ahead of the count and call Bergmanis Pereira, personal injury lawyers. You focus on getting better, and Bergmanis Pereira will take care of the rest. Visit bplawyers.ca. Another 2-2. Looped out to left center field. Calling for it, Valade. The left fielder makes the catch. 2 down. Big news of the day, if you weren't with us off the top, right calf strain for Bo Bichette. He is placed on the 10-day injured list. Addison Barger is back up with the Blue Jays. Now, at least last I had heard, they were still doing the imaging on Bo Bichette's calf, so nothing concrete in terms of severity at this point.
Might learn more after the game tomorrow, after the game today.
First pitch to Davis Schneider, fouled back, 0-1.
But clearly not going to be able to play anytime soon, so Bichette will enter a period of rest for now and see what the prognosis is once they get in touch with some of those medical professionals.
0-1 to Schneider. Bends the knee, takes strike two. Tough call against Schneider. That one looked pretty low. It's 0-2. 2 down and the base is empty. 1-0 Tigers. Bottom of the fifth. Maeda steps back, twists, and offers. Swing and a chopper. Third baseline, foul. Urshela picks it up and flips it into the stomach of Carlos Fabulous, who had quick hands to make the catch and toss it over the netting into the seats. Those two joking around. Would have seen each other a lot when Fabulous was the third base coach for the Red Sox and Urshela was the third baseman for the Yankees. 0-2. Fouled off again. Davis Schneider 0 for 1 today, hit into an inning-ending double play in the second. Waggles the bat above his right shoulder. 0-2 the pitch. Bounced, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Despite no base runners in this inning, the Blue Jays have made Maeda work, up to 20 pitches now in his first inning out of the bullpen. Here's pitch 21. Fouled over the net off to the right.
Tough at-bat right here for Davis Schneider. Continues battling, looking for something in a zone that he likes to do damage on. So probably inside, probably lower. Doesn't like those pitches high up, but maybe that's exactly where Maeda will try to place it.
Right-hander into the wind. Another 1-2. Bounced it to the plate. Danny Jansen started this inning by seeing 9 pitches, then 6 for Dalton Varsho, now 7 already to Davis Schneider. Toronto, though, with just 2 hits today, both from Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Two. Bounce foul off to the left. Schneider reached out for a well-located slider and just got a piece of it to stay alive.
That was a swing to save himself and keep the at-bat going, not a swing to necessarily do damage.
2 ball, 2 strike count, 2 outs, bottom of the fifth. Still 1-0 for Detroit over Toronto. Maeda's pitch. Swinging a liner hit to the shortstop Baez, who makes a backhanded catch to end the inning. Maeda works a 1-2-3 bottom of the fifth. We go to the sixth, where it's 1-0 for the visitors. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know your vehicle rusts faster in warm weather? Protect your vehicle today. For a special summer offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Lumos. What's up, insiders? This community continues to grow like crazy, all because of you guys sharing this link out on the social networks, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, however you have it. And check us out while you're at it, and make sure to drop a follow at TS_insider on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. Thank you guys for your support in building this community. Let's make it even bigger and even better as we head into hockey season coming up in a couple of months. We'll see you guys in the chat. Go Blue Jays, go.
No mountains too tall for the strong boots to climb. I am by your side.
That was Desjardins Insurance, playing insurance with a heart so big it shows. Tune in for your auto and home coverage at desjardins.com/heart.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Springer charges a ball to left field. It's in the seats, and the Blue Jays are on the board.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The sixth inning is brought to you by Desjardins Financial Group. Desjardins is a big fan of small biz. That's why they awarded another $3 million to small business owners across the country. See how Desjardins cheered on small biz this year at goodsparkgrants.ca. 1-0 Tigers, top of the sixth. Yusei Kikuchi's first pitch is hit on the ground by Matt Vierling just past the slide of Leo Jimenez at short and into left field. Jimenez kind of half slid, half dove at the ball, but it got past him, and that'll be a second hit today for Vierling.
It was a great test of his range. It was just on the edge of his range. I think it's a play that Leo Jimenez could make at times. Didn't make it this time, but he is a defensively talented shortstop. Just didn't get the chance to show it off right there.
Maybe a chance now to turn two as Mark Canha comes up. The pitch. Low ball one. Yusei Kikuchi out in his sixth inning of work, just threw his 79th pitch. And with that, the Blue Jays have the bullpen warming. Trevor Richards is up. Left-hander sets at his belt, peeks at the runner at first, the pitch home. Hit foul off to the right. Canha has a hit today and a strikeout. After a Vierling single in the first, Canha rolled the ball through the right side, which is still wide open right now. They have the second baseman Schneider up the middle, and Horwitz, of course, holding on Matt Vierling at first. So you got about 90 feet of space there in between first and second in the infield. One. Called strike. Kikuchi maybe gets a call a little bit off the plate inside. 1-2.
Not for the first time against Canha. Last time up, he was not pleased with the call that earned him a strikeout. But he still has one more strike to work with here.
The 1-2. A little bit high and outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And at this point, the way Kikuchi's pitch count has climbed, this is probably his final inning of work, one way or the other, with a fresh bullpen behind him.
2-2. Fouled back. Maybe some urgency to really make sure that it stays close. Also has Trevor Richards up right now. Blue Jays did go to Chad Green yesterday while they were trailing to keep a game close as well. Another pitch. Another foul ball. That one popped up off the handle and over the netting behind home plate.
Wouldn't be surprised at all if Jimmy Garcia pitches at some point in this game. If the score is still 1-0, I would be surprised to see Eric Swanson enter with a game so close.
2-2 once more. Down and in. And it skips away from Jansen off the backstop, and up to second base goes Matt Vierling. I think that will go down as a wild pitch. And it will, but it a little bit crossed up Jansen as he went with his backhand to the forehand side, turning his wrist over. So runner on second, now the 3-2. High ball 4.
And with the walk, that wild pitch becomes a little inconsequential, as you'd have runners on first and second anyways. But absolutely, that was a bizarre way for Danny Jansen to try to catch that one. The receiving there, let that one get past him, and gave the Tigers a momentary advantage.
That'll prompt Pete Walker to go out to the mound right now with first and second and nobody out. Gives us an opportunity to go to the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard. Mentioned the Rays final over the Yankees earlier, 9-1. Tampa Bay won in the Bronx. Another final has come down. Atlanta beat St. Louis in extra innings. First of a split doubleheader, ended in an Ozzie Albies walk-off sac fly in the 10th inning.
Doubleheader, start with extra innings. That's going to be a fun one for those pitching staffs.
I guess, I'm not a huge fan of the split doubleheader where you play early and then there's hours in between and then you play again. This might be the one situation where that, I think, works out pretty well. If you have to go to extras, maybe nice that they don't go again until 7:20.
Yeah.
Although I wonder what you do. You just stay at the ballpark? You have to.
Yeah. Eat something. Change your uniform.
Pitch to Wenzel Perez, called strike 1. That would be funny. If they play game 1 in one uniform, they might, and game 2 in a second one. You think they will?
I think they do, yeah. Because you want to change the vibe a little bit.
Even if you've won, though?
I even think the winning team would wear a different uniform, because they'd be dirty. You're not going to go out there in dirty uniforms.
0-1 pitch. Outside, 1-1. Although 3 hours is enough to do laundry as well.
You could do a whole load.
First and second for the Tigers, top of the 6th. Nobody out. Matt Vierling on second, Mark Canna on first, and Wenzel Perez at the plate, 0 for 2. Perez has his heel off the ground on his front left foot, and Kikuchi will step off, look at second. Blue Jays are anticipating a potential sacrifice bunt. Horwitz and Guerrero in at first and third. 1-1. At the knees, strike 2.
Yeah, doubleheader's a rarity in Toronto. I think we had one against the Royals like 4 or 5 years ago. But
you think that's the last one here?
I think so, and obviously because the Dome is here, we just don't have doubleheaders here.
1-2. Low, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Blue Jays will have doubleheaders on the road this year, including one on the 29th of June in Baltimore. Now, Baltimore is a place where they're probably pretty comfortable with doubleheaders because they get a lot of rainouts. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The pitch from Kikuchi. Outside, full count.
Yeah, it was April of 2018. Blue Jays and Royals played a doubleheader here.
And I wonder how that would have happened. Maybe a rainout in Kansas City, but they played it here. 3-2 pitch fouled off. Because again, how do you have a rainout in Toronto?
It was because a game was postponed after ice fell from the CN Tower and created a hole in the roof of Rogers Center.
It has to be pretty special circumstances. Another 3-2. Check swing, pitch inside, and it hit him. Appeal down to first, or no? No appeal. So Perez will take the base. It's going to be a hit batter. I think the Blue Jays are thinking about looking at it. No, instead John Schneider's going to come out of the dugout and make a pitching change. Kikuchi, impressive today, but has now allowed the first 3 batters to reach in the 6th. And we haven't seen a point yet, but Schneider looking out to left field, and then looks like that'll be the end of Kikuchi's day. He takes the ball. Bullpen doors open. Trevor Richards jogging in. And with a 1-0 Tiger lead, the bases loaded and nobody out in the top of the 6th inning. Let's go over to today's host. Here's Show Ali.
Thank you very much, Ben. Let's check out the out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill. Let's head over to NBA Summer League action out in Vegas. The Raptors getting blown out by the Heat in Sin City last night. They lose 109-73 to Miami. They fall to 2-2. They were without Grady Dick and Jonathan Mogbo for the second straight game. Though 2024 first-rounder Jacoby Walter scored 16 points, he knocked down 3 threes in the loss. Center Brandon Carlson finished with 12 points and 2 blocks as well. With the loss, it does mean that Summer League round-robin play is largely over for Toronto. Only the top 4 teams advance to the semis in Vegas. Though since all teams that do not advance get a 5th game, the Raptors will take on the Spurs at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on Sunday evening. That's tomorrow. Ben mentioned this earlier. We also got an Olympic tune-up for the men's basketball team on Friday. Canada beating France 85-73 last night in exhibition play. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scoring 23 points. He added 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals. R.J. Barrett with 21 points as well. Dylan Brooks largely tasked with guarding the young phenom Victor Wembanyama. The French star only scored 10 points. Canada's men's team will play their last pre-Olympic exhibition game on Sunday against Puerto Rico. The women's team will actually play 2 more. They'll take on Australia on Tuesday, July 23rd, and Spain on Wednesday, July 24th. The opening ceremonies, meanwhile, in Paris will go on Friday. And last night, we had the WNBA All-Star Skills Competition. Atlanta's Alicia Gray making some history, the first ever player to win both the skills competition and the three-point contest on the same night. Later tonight, you can watch the WNBA All-Star Game itself. That goes at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 Pacific on Sportsnet 1. Blue Jays baseball is brought to you by Crown Rust Protection. Back to the action. Here's Ben and Ben.
Thank you very much, Show. Blue Jays down 1-0 to the Tigers. Bases loaded, nobody out. Trevor Richards' pitch is called high. That one looked real good. It's 1-0. Jake Rogers, the batter for the Tigers. For Richards, his 43rd appearance of the year, a mid-threes earned run average. Corners in, middle infield back, prepared to trade 2 outs for a run. 1-0. Fastball, called strike.
A tough situation for Trevor Richards to inherit right here after Yusei Kikuchi just kind of lost his command those last couple of batters.
1-1. Bounce to the plate, good block by Jansen. He's tied for the Major League lead in blocks above average coming into this game with 11. But yeah, Kikuchi this inning, like you mentioned, gives up the leadoff hit. There's a wild pitch in there, a walk, and then a hit batter on a 3-2 pitch. Would have been a walk anyway. 2-1. Fastball fouled off to the right, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Just lost the zone, maybe a little fatigue setting in. Certainly pitched well overall today. And we'll see what the final line reads. A lot of that is still pending these base runners, but there were a lot of positives for Yusei Kikuchi.
Richards kicks and fires. Foul tip just pops out of the glove of Jansen, so it'll be a foul ball. And it's still 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And Richards certainly capable of getting the Blue Jays out of this one. He's been a tough guy to square up this season. Just 28 hits allowed and nearly 50 innings pitched.
He's about a strikeout an inning as well. 48 strikeouts on the year. 2-2. Hit well. Deep left field. Going back, Varsho looking up. That ball's gone. Grand slam, Jake Rogers. 5-0, the Tigers lead. Tried to put the fastball past Rogers. It was high and tight, and he turned on it for his 7th home run of the season.
Just a huge swing for Jake Rogers, who's celebrating now with his Tigers teammates and heading into that visiting dugout. And that is the exact opposite of what the Blue Jays needed from Trevor Richards. A fastball, middle in, belt high. That is a devastating blow for the Blue Jays, and all 3 of those base runners now will be charged to Yusei Kikuchi.
That does close the line on Kikuchi, which we'll get to in a sec, but first Javier Baez is up with a 5-0 Detroit lead. No outs, top of the 6th. First pitch, rip and a miss, 0-1. For Kikuchi today, 5+ innings, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, a hit batter, and 8 strikeouts. 0-1. Baez shows bunt, pulls back, pitch in the dirt.
And I would love to read the scouting reports that are going to different GMs around the league after watching Yusei Kikuchi. Of course, we don't get that luxury.
1-1. Fouled off, 1-2.
But I would guess that if you're a contending team watching Yusei Kikuchi, you would notice the swing and miss. You would notice that he was very effective for 4-5 innings. And then you would notice that he lost the zone a little bit later on, and that did cost him.
1-2. High, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
So is this a number 1 starter? Is this someone that you're putting out there, up against the Corbin Burnses of the world? Probably not, but he can be a very good starting pitcher.
2 pitches low, full count.
On a contending team. So we will see. There's still probably one more start for Yusei Kikuchi before that trade deadline.
Tough one today, though, for Kikuchi, with all 3 of those inherited runners scoring on Richards. 3-2 pitch is line to right center, a base hit. Baez around first. He'll stop there. And the Tigers have had 5 straight reach to start this inning.
Not a team known for its offensive firepower either, but they have been able to put a lot of runs on the board in the last couple of innings, and the trend for the Blue Jays with their relievers continues. This season has been such a difficult one for the Blue Jays bullpen, which ranks second last in baseball in reliever ERA to only the Colorado Rockies.
First pitch to Gio Urshela, called strike 1. Blue Jays bullpen earned run average is a little bit below 5. It's in the 4.8 region. Coming into this game, it'll rise with that home run. 0-1 is line to right center, another base hit. Baez had to freeze as Schneider leaped for it, but it got over the second baseman's glove. And Urshela has a hit now. Baez is up to second, 6 in a row on base to start this inning for the Tigers, who threaten again with nobody out.
And some more hard contact right there. Of course, the Rogers home run was hit very hard. Not really a lot of doubt when that one left his bat. And Urshela able to square up Trevor Richards as well. This is not characteristic of what we've seen from Trevor Richards. Typically, he has been effective really for years now out of the Blue Jays bullpen. Today, one of his worst outings.
He's just having a tough month of July. Really good until July. First pitch to Ryan Valade, swing and a miss, strike 1. He had his stretch from the 4th to the 12th where he gave up runs in 4 straight, but had his scoreless appearance after that on the 14th right before the break. 0-1. Fouled off again, 0-2.
And when it comes to relievers, teams really need guys who are performing right now. So that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't allow any hits. So a lot of it has to do with the pitch velocity and are you getting swing and miss and how does the delivery look. All those things would matter. But it doesn't help Trevor Richards as a trade candidate to be performing in this way.
0-2. High, 1 ball and 2 strikes. I do want to correct, I misspoke earlier. Richards a free agent after this season. So again, a guy that's mentioned a lot when you see speculation at least about who the Blue Jays could try to move at the deadline. 1-2. Lifted to shallow right field. Springer sprinting in toward the line, makes the catch. Baez tags from second, but just dekes and goes back to the bag. There's 1 out.
That's a good play by Springer. Off the bat, I wondered if that might find a way to drop in, but Springer able to take advantage of his legs, use that speed to cover a lot of ground, and make a good play in right field.
Needed 7 batters to reach before, or to come up before the first out. Here's the 8th batter of the inning now, Andy Ibanez, who hits at the top of the Tiger order. 5-0. Detroit leads Toronto. 1 out, first and second, top of the 6th. A little pitch clock related discussion about did Ibanez get in time or not? He did. And now Richards on the rubber. A look at second at Baez and the pitch home. Swing and a line drive left center field. Varsho on the run. It's down, and he cuts it off in left center. Baez around third. He'll score. Relay throw skips away for a moment, but backing it up, Spencer Horwitz gathers it in the middle of the diamond. Urshela at second. Ibanez at first with his second RBI hit of the day. Now 6-0 for the Tigers.
And Varsho actually did a great job to cut that ball off. It looked like it could split the outfielders and head down onto the ground toward the warning track in left center field. But Varsho, as he so often does, able to get a good read, make his way over to that ball, and hold the runner to only a single.
More hits, though, for the Tigers this inning, who've scored 5 runs and have 5 hits. Justin Henry Malloy is up. The pitch. High ball 1. Depending on your definition of it, the Tigers have batted around. This is their 9th hitter to come up this inning. Guy who led off the inning, Matt Vierling's on deck. 1-0. Check swing, pitch was low. 2 balls, no strikes.
I would say they have batted around. Would you, Ben?
I would not.
Wow.
I would not. But I'm not that passionate about it. I'll be honest.
Controversy. Interesting.
I think once someone has come up twice,
okay,
batted around. And there's no definition. If you look it up, there's big people on both sides. 2-0 pitches high, 3-0. Shade now covering Rogers Center. Tigers up 6-0. 3-0 pitch. Called strike. Malloy threw the bat away, but preemptively, he's got to pick it back up off the dirt now and backpedal into the righty box. Blue Jays have lefty Brendan Little getting loose. Richards at 23 pitches. The 3-1. High, ball 4. This time Malloy tosses away the bat correctly and heads down to first. The bases are loaded. And Blue Jays fans airing out their frustrations right now. John Schneider walking out of the dugout. It'll be a second pitching change in the inning. Richards comes in, gets 1 out, but the Tigers get the Jake Rogers grand slam and add on another on the Ibanez single. Let's go back to today's host. Here's Show Ali.
Thank you very much, Ben. I mentioned earlier on our check of the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard, the WNBA All-Star Game. I didn't mention that one of my favorite wrinkles about it goes tonight. It's the USA Women's National Team taking on the remaining WNBA All-Stars, so it promises to be quite competitive. Like I said earlier, you can watch it tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 Pacific, and that'll be on Sportsnet 1. In the world of golf, we do have a major tournament this weekend, the 152nd Open Championship. This year at Royal Troon Golf Club in Scotland. Moving day today. The round is over, round 3. Billy Horschel is the clubhouse leader at 4 under, 6 players tied for second at 3 under, including Xander Schauffele, Justin Rose. Scotty Scheffler is 2 under par, and after starting the day with the lead, Shane Lowry, a lot of bogeys today, tumbles to 9th place, 1 under par, so still within striking distance. We'll need a good day tomorrow. We have some CFL action tonight, including the Argos. They'll take on the Ticats and the Hammer tonight. Kickoff goes at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific. And in the NFL, a retirement to pass along. 2-time Super Bowl champ linebacker Shaquille Barrett has told the Dolphins he'll be retiring immediately. He was also a 2-time Pro Bowler as well. Some scores from around Major League Baseball. A couple of finals. The Braves walk off the Cardinals in extras. That game took 10 innings, but Atlanta wins 3-2. And Ben talked about this earlier. The Rays beating the Yankees 9-1. Isak Paredes with a home run, Alex Jackson with a 3-run bomb, and Randy Arozarena with 2 home runs, a solo shot and a 2-run shot. Game going on right now. The Athletics leading the Angels 3-1. More runs for Brent Rooker, a 442-foot bomb for Brent Rooker. A's lead the Angels 3-1, and the Mets and Marlins going on right now. Bottom of the 3rd inning. That game showing zeros in Miami. Blue Jays baseball is brought to you by Crown Rust Protection. Let's get you back to the action. Here's Ben Schulman and Ben Nicholson-Smith.
Thank you, Show. Brendan Little is on the mound for the Blue Jays. He will make his 21st appearance of the season right now with the bases loaded and 1 out. 6-0 Tigers, 5 runs in this 6th inning. Left on right, the pitch to Matt Vierling. Strike one. Vierling started off this inning for the Tigers with a single. His second hit of the day came in to score on the Jake Rogers grand slam. 0-1. Check swing, pitch in the dirt, blocked by Jansen. Peel down to first, says no swing. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Vierling has loved hitting against the Blue Jays in his career, hitting in the 350s against Toronto in his time between Philadelphia and Detroit. 1-1. Bounce softly, left side, picked up by Guerrero. He'll go to the plate for the force. Jansen dives but keeps his foot on the plate for the out. Fielder's choice for Vierling, 5-2. The Blue Jays force out the runner from third, Gio Urshela, and it remains 6-0, now 2 outs.
And a little nod by Vladimir Guerrero Jr., a little gesture with his glove saying to Danny Jansen, thanks for saving me right there. Vlad Jr. did everything right on this play except for the throw. He was able to keep his composure, field the ball, and make the right decision to go home, which was clearly where he had to go with it. But the throw was offline, and Jansen saves him.
Yeah, that ball was hit pretty soft to think about turning 2 there to try to end the inning. Vierling's got some speed. So now 2 down, still bases loaded. Here's Mark Canha. The pitch. Outside, ball 1. It's Ibanez on third, Malloy on second, and Vierling on first. 6-0 Detroit, 2 outs, top of the 6th inning. Little the lefty is set. A breath. And now the 1-0. Check swing, called strike. It's the hard sinker from Brendan Little. Mid-90s with his sinker and cutter, and throws a hard knuckle curveball in the mid-80s.
He's been good for the Blue Jays, and they need relievers to step up. Ryan Burr, Brendan Little getting those chances.
1-1. Swing and a miss. Went to that knuckle curve that was 88 miles an hour, and it's 1-2.
It's a hard curveball.
Yeah, it's somewhere between a curve and a slider almost in terms of the velocity, but you can see him spike the curve as his nail kind of goes into it and his knuckle on his pointer finger is sticking up.
It looks like a curveball out of the hand.
Little, a former first-round pick by the Chicago Cubs. One-two. Check swing, pitch in the dirt. Did he go? He did not. Ball gets away from Jansen, and all 3 runners will advance. That brings in Andy Ibanez for the 7th Tiger run. Might have scored the run anyway, but Jansen a little bit in between there, asking for the appeal and going after the ball.
He did seem in between, and there was a little frustration there from Brendan Little standing at home plate, kind of waiting for the ball. As we see, Jansen just took a while to locate the ball first and foremost, and by the time he flipped it over there, the Tigers had scored their 7th run.
So 6 now in the inning for Detroit. 7-0. The Tigers lead. 2-2 count. Second and third. 2 outs. The pitch is hit on the ground to short. Picked up by Jimenez. He stops, throws to first, and ends the inning. The Tigers score 6. 4 of them from a Jake Rogers grand slam. It's 7-0 Detroit. Middle of the 6th inning. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Find out why DMB fans are raving about Dave Matthews Band's 2024 Summer Tour.
Every show is different.
This weekend, the Friday Night Concert Series takes you to New Jersey for Dave Matthews Band, captured live, encoring all week. Exclusively on Dave Matthews Band Radio, Channel 30, and the SiriusXM app. Search DMB and listen to the entire series.
Are you regretting eating that gas station hot dog? Yeah, we know. We've been there too. This is a message for baseball fans like you. Did you know that you get a channel that's talking baseball 24/7 as part of your SiriusXM subscription?
What?
Our lineup includes shows hosted by former big leaguers and executives. Plus, you'll hear from 17 managers each week. MLB Network Radio is on SiriusXM Channel 89, or just search MLB Network Radio on the SXM app. SiriusXM Sports. We're more than just a game.
I'm Rocco Mediate.
Music and golf are coming together on Rolling the Rock with Alice Cooper and me. I'll talk with the rock and roll legend about his career and passion for the game that we all love.
There's a putt, must be 90 feet long, and you make that putt, or walking off and you say, I could never make that putt again in
100 years. PGA Tour Radio is your exclusive home to Rolling the Rock, and you can hear the show anytime with the Sirius XM app.
The Blue Jays are in flight, leading 3-0.
Blue Jays fans, this is Ross Atkins, and you're listening to Blue Jays Baseball on Sirius XM.
The Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome to the Timbermark broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Ben Nicholson-Smith. 7-0, the Tigers lead the Blue Jays, bottom of the sixth. A sixth spot in the top half of the inning has Detroit way in front as Kenta Maeda takes back over. And here's his pitch to Leo Jimenez. Strike one. It was a pretty close game moments ago, but that has rapidly changed. Here's the 0-1. Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
That grand slam by Jake Rogers really changed the tenor of the game here. And at this point, it's going to be very hard for the Blue Jays to make this interesting.
The 1-1. Bounce foul, 1-2. Toronto facing an impromptu bullpen day from Detroit with Reese Olson's early exit due to injury. Has managed 2 hits today and 2 walks, both hits from Vladimir Guerrero Jr. 1-2. Bounced, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Now it looks as though this might be a chance for Eric Swanson to get back into Major League game action here after being activated yesterday. He's warming up in the left field bullpen right now.
2-2. Hit off the end of the bat toward right center. Vierling calling for it. The center fielder reaches up and hauls it in for out number 1. Yeah, it looks like Swanson will enter, and you had mentioned earlier likely that Garcia would enter. In our meeting with John Schneider, you had asked him about that, and he didn't 100% say that Garcia would come in, but he said that they would like to get him in and hope that it's a good situation. But that at least made it sound like they'd put him in even if it wasn't necessarily the right situation. First pitch to Kevin Kiermaier, strike 1.
At this point, the Blue Jays clearly entertaining offers on their pending free agents, including Garcia, and so you only have 10 days to show to contenders what he can do.
0-1. Kiermaier fouls it back, 0-2. How much of it do you think is continuing to showcase Garcia's skills? Obviously, we've seen what he can do, and how much do you think it's proving that he's healthy for someone who wants to trade him?
And even for Garcia himself, of course, he wants to pitch.
0-2. Poked out to left field on the run. Valade toward the line, dives, and it's down off his glove and bouncing past him near the corner. Kiermaier around second. He's thinking about third, but puts the brakes on and heads back to the bag with a 1-out double.
Good read there by Kevin Kiermaier. Of course, down 7. He's a veteran player. You know is that he does not need to run toward third base, even if he had a good chance of getting there after the missed dive attempt from Valade. Kiermaier stays at second base, and the Blue Jays will look to build on it from there.
And probably not the worst risk for Valade either. Up 7 runs, trying to make a play there. Ends up as a double, though. Here's George Springer. First pitch is cut on and missed. Strike 1. 7-0 Tigers. Runner on second, 1 out. Home half of the 6th. Springer is 0 for 2. The 0-1. Swing and a miss. Late on the fastball there. It's 0-2.
Yeah, so it will be interesting to see if the Jays get Jimmy Garcia in there. If not today, I would definitely expect that he pitches tomorrow ahead of an off-day Monday.
Eric Swanson continuing to warm as the 0-2 comes in, and Springer hits it foul over the netting off to the right. I'm guessing that you would say Yusei Kikuchi is the most attractive trade piece they have. Is Jimmy Garcia in your mind second?
Yes.
0-2.
And he's able to score and get the Blue Jays on the board right here.
For Springer, it's his 37th RBI of the year. It's his 22nd RBI in the last 20 games. Now Spencer Horwitz to the plate with Springer on first and 1 out. Maeda from the stretch, the pitch. Lifted down the left field line into the seats, 0-1. But to get back to that, Garcia, you see as the second most attractive trade piece the Blue Jays have.
I really do. And I think the reason the pitching moves so much this time of year and the reason that Yusei Kikuchi is so appealing is every team at the back of the rotation, maybe even at the front.
0-1. Bounce to the right side, picked by the first baseman, Canna. Springer stops, and they throw to second to force him out. Horwitz is safe at first base on a fielder's choice.
Springer decides to stop, even though it's not that they were trying to tag him. It did appear to confuse the Tigers just a little bit. Either way, the inning continues. And to continue answering your question there, Ben, I think that there's so many teams that need pitching. There's so many teams that need starting pitching. So many teams that need relief pitching. So it's not positional. It's not contingent on other players the way, let's say, a Danny Jansen might be. You have to find the right fit. You have to find the team that needs a catcher, needs a DH, maybe wants a right-handed hitter. In the case of pitching, if you have guys who can get swing and miss, they will be in demand.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s up, 2 outs in the first pitch, down and away, 1-0. Vlad's 2 for 2 today. With Garcia, he's pitched as a closer before for the Miami Marlins. He's pitched for playoff teams like the Blue Jays, pitched for the Astros in the playoffs. He can get righties out, he can get lefties out as well. And so there's a lot of different tools that he has as Guerrero swings at the 1-0 and sends it to deep center field. Veerling back at the wall, that ball's gone. Another home run for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He is barking to his own dugout to try to get them going. His 16th of the year, and the Blue Jays have a 3 spot in the bottom of the 6th. It's 7-3 Tigers.
Dead center field. Vlad Guerrero Jr. homering for the second day in a row. He got all of that when a pitch on the outer part of the plate. Kenta Maeda's breaking ball, no match for Vlad Guerrero Jr.'s bat speed.
Yesterday he hit it 445 feet. This one just 418 feet out to dead center. Here's Justin Turner. Swing and a pop-up right side foul. That one slicing toward the fans, and it does bounce into the seats. Guerrero now with 3 hits today, and like you said, homers in back-to-back days.
That one spun in there. Outside part of the plate, Vlad Jr. takes it to center field. Great offensive approach.
The 0-1. Down and away. 1 ball, 1 strike. So Toronto trying to generate some momentum. We're down 7-0. It's now 7-3. Maeda winds the 1-1. Bounce to the shortstop. Charging in Baez. Gloves it. Stops. Throws to first. And ends the inning. Blue Jays come up with 3 runs on 3 hits. Kevin Kiermaier starts the inning with a double. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hits a 2-run homer. It's 7-3 for the Tigers as we go to the 7th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle.
Did you know your vehicle rusts faster in warm weather? Protect your vehicle today. For a special summer offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
We're 2 men in a truck, the movers who care. You never know when cardiac arrest can happen. That's why each and every one of our trucks carries a life-saving Mikey defibrillator as part of our Mikey on Board program. Whether we're on the highway or in front of your house, we're prepared to help anyone whose heart may skip a beat. The Mikey Network has saved many lives, making Mikeys accessible to the public. And now they're on board our trucks. We're two men in a truck.
Two men and a truck, the movers who care.
So, you want to be a Looney Dogger, eh? Every Tuesday Blue Jays home game is Looney Dogs Night, presented by Schneider's. Grab $1 hot dogs from various concession stands around Rogers Center. Plus, stop by the Schneider's Porch, your hot dog headquarters. The destination for a one-of-a-kind hot dog experience with excellent ballpark views. So, whether you're the relish ringleader or seventh-inning snacker, no Blue Jays game is complete without hot dogs. Don't miss out on this delicious deal. Looney Dogs Night, presented by Schneider's. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Kikuchi has struck out 4 of the last 6.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome back to Rogers Center in downtown Toronto. It's the 7th inning between the Blue Jays and the Tigers. 7-3 Detroit leads, but Toronto, with the most recent punch, as they scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 6th, including a 2-run home run by Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Eric Swanson into the game for the Blue Jays. Right-hander to face Wensil Perez to start the 7th. First pitch, strike 1. Swanson making his 18th appearance of the year, his first since late May. Spent time in AAA. Back up now with Toronto. His 0-1. Splitter misses low. Perez, the switch hitter, turned around left here for the at-bat against the right-hander Swanson. The 1-1. Bounce to first base, backs up Horwitz, he gloves, flips back to the covering Swanson, and there's the first out.
And as this game progresses and the Tigers see more of the Blue Jays right-handed relievers, we could see some of their players currently on the bench come into pinch hit. So keep an eye on Riley Green, Colt Keith. They are very much available for today's game. A couple left-handed hitters who can do some real damage.
They remain on the bench for now as Jake Rogers comes up to hit. He's got the decisive swing in this game, a grand slam last inning. First pitch, swing and a fly ball, hit out to center field. Kiermaier is backing up in front of the track, makes the catch. 2 down. Can't ask for a lot more to start the inning and start this return for Eric Swanson. 4 pitches, 2 outs.
That's exactly what the Blue Jays want to see. Having him attack the strike zone for 1, get a couple results, a couple quick outs, that's a really good thing. This was hard for him earlier in the season when he really struggled.
Pitch to Javi Baez, called strike 1. Swanson entered today with an earned run average over 9 at the major league level. Did have some ups and downs at AAA, but Schneider had mentioned that some of the underlying factors were good for Swanson. A 1 pitch is hit on the ground foul by Baez down the right field line, and it's 0-2.
And realistically, where the Blue Jays are in the standings, again, it's not like they're trying to preserve a lead in the wild card race or something, in which case you might be much more hesitant to use a pitcher like Swanson who struggled. But now is a chance for them to see what they have.
Yesterday they had mentioned that the command has improved for Swanson. 5 strikes and 6 pitches in this appearance. 0-2. Bounced up the middle, charging at the shortstop Jimenez. Gloves head high, sidearms over to first, and that's a 1-2-3, top of the 7th for Eric Swanson. 7th inning stretch coming up, 7-3 the Tigers lead the Blue Jays at Rogers Center. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Carnival is at the core of Toronto culture. Stand out in the crowd with your Blue Jays neon hat giveaway. The colors, the music, the heat, the vibes.
I don't know who's having more fun, the players or the fans.
Be at Rogers Center as the Blue Jays celebrate Caribbean Carnival and create core memories of summer in the city.
Everybody's feeling good right now.
Arrive early on Friday, July 26th and claim your Blue Jays neon hat. Blue Jays Caribbean Carnival. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
We're 2meninatruck.ca. We've got lots of men and lots of trucks, so get ready to be moved.
Think 2meninatruck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day. Think 2meninatruck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's That's our company name. 2 men in a truck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks. So give us a call today. I am by your side. Got a heart so big. On this you can rely. No mountains too tall for the strong boots to climb. I am by your side.
That was Desjardins Insurance, playing insurance with a heart so big it shows. Tune in for your auto and home coverage at desjardins.com/heart.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
The 0-2 pitch. Fastball, strike 3 looking.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome to the Timbermart broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman. To my left, Ben Nicholson-Smith. Show Ali, our host today. Nick Blackmore, our producer. Andrew Adamson, Tom Young, our technical directors. 7-3, the Tigers lead the Blue Jays. Fourth Tiger pitcher into this game is Tyler Holton, the lefty, who got the save yesterday in a 1-run game. Today, pitches in the 7th with a 4-run lead.
Interesting bullpen usage again by the Tigers, really mixing and matching, more situational. It's not necessarily dependent on what the save opportunity is, but just trying to limit the Blue Jays here. And the Jays trying to make this a little closer. I mean, this is a real game right now, down just 4 runs.
Holton kicks and fires to Danny Jansen, who takes strike 1. And you mentioned it being situational. Dalton Varsho, a left-handed hitter, is on deck for the Blue Jays. So perhaps Holton partially in for that. 0-1. Jansen takes again. It's a ball this time. 1 ball and 1 strike. 3.29 earned run average. He's on the Max Scherzer career path. Drafted by the Diamondbacks. Debuted with them. Moved to the Tigers. Next pitch to Jansen is low. 2-2.
Let's see if he can build on that.
Yeah, then you got to go to Washington, and then the Dodgers, and then the Mets, and then the Rangers. I don't think I missed one. And then you're Max Scherzer. 2-2. Called strike 3. Fastball at the knees gets Jansen. 1 down. You also got to win 3 Cy Youngs and 2 of them back-to-back, but you can deal with that when you're in Washington.
That's the tough part. But yes, we'll see if Holton can get there.
Speaking of, let's take a look at the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard as Dalton Varsho comes up. Some games in action right now. Oakland is beating the Los Angeles Angels 3-1 in the bottom of the 4th. First the pitch, Dalton Varsho. Swing and a miss. Strike 1. Also have Mets and Marlins in action.
And also on that out-of-town scoreboard, Max Scherzer pitches tonight.
It's Texas against Baltimore in Arlington. 0-1. Called strike, 0-2. Scherzer against Grayson Rodriguez. That's a fun matchup. One out in the 0-2 pitch. Varsho takes outside, 1-2. Texas kind of in a similar space with Detroit, where if they can go on a big run, maybe it changes their direction, but they are 5 below 500. 1-2. Outside, 2-2. We had mentioned yesterday, a lot of stuff is circumstantial with them due to major injuries. But it is odd to see the World Series champion not in the playoff picture right now. 2-2. Varsho takes, called strike 3. Another fastball at the knees and another strikeout looking for Tyler Holton.
Yeah, both of last year's World Series teams right around that 500 mark. It looks like the Diamondbacks will likely buy. The Rangers seen more as sellers. The Tigers, I mean, they're playing well right here. They might be a game under 500 within a couple of hours here, but I still think the Tigers sell.
2 down, the pitch to Davis Schneider. Slow ball 1. One thing for Detroit, too, they lead 7-3 right now, 2 outs, bottom of the 7th. A lot of their sell pieces are older, expiring guys. It doesn't really impact their core much. 1-0. Chopped foul, left side, 1-1. If you're talking about a Canna, an Urshela, a Carson Kelly, still the core of their team is guys like Green, Keith, Skubal, Reese Olson. Holden kicks, delivers home. And Schneider hits it to center field. Sprinting in Matt Vierling. It's down in front of him for a base hit. First hit of the day for Davis Schneider, 6th Blue Jay hit, and that extends the 7th inning with 2 outs.
Well, Schneider's had some good contact here today. He lined out his last time up. This one off the end of the bat, but he's able to send it into center field and give the Blue Jays a chance to make this game a little closer.
7-3, Detroit leading Toronto. 2 outs in Leo Jimenez. The shortstop is up. He's 0 for 2. Left on right, the pitch. High, ball 1. Jimenez has reached base in all 7 of his previous starts this year. But 0 for 2 today. 1-0. Takes again. That one's low. 2 balls and no strikes. Holton looking in, now sets. Glove in front of his face. Staring at the runner, Schneider. The 2-0. Down and away, ball 3. Lefty licks his fingers and rubs them on the back of his pants, trying to get a little extra grip. As he's missed 3 straight times here to Leo Jimenez. Southpaw rocks and deals. Hits the outside part of the zone for strike 1. Jimenez taken all the way. Zone control, a big part of the package for Leo Jimenez, who ran an on-base percentage above 400 at AAA. 3-1. Called strike, and that's a tough one. That pitch certainly looked low. If Jimenez is at Buffalo, he challenges and is on first right now, but instead it's a full count, and Schneider will get a head start from first. Cannon no longer holding the runner on, plays behind Davis Schneider. Holden in the set, staring at first. The 3-2. Swing and a looper headed to right field. Perez racing in, reaches up, and makes the catch. 2-out knock by Davis Schneider, but he's stranded on first base. No runs on 1 hit, and we go to the 8th inning with Detroit up 7-3. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Embrace the power. That is bold. And speed of the NTT IndyCar Series on SiriusXM.
Joseph, you got it! Wins the Indy 500!
The season rolls on north of the border. Sunday afternoon at 1 Eastern on the streets of Toronto.
Nice job, nice job.
From the green to the checkers.
Flies under the twin checkers.
Hear every thrilling lap live on IndyCar Nation Channel 218, NBC Sports Audio Channel 85.
Alex Palou! Thank you so much!
And on the all-new SiriusXM app.
Wake up! Wake up, everybody! This is Steve Phillips from the leadoff spot on MLB Network Radio. Join me and former Major League Baseball players Eduardo Perez and Xavier Scruggs as we react to all the latest news and scores across baseball and have plenty of fun along the way.
Steve, you were so right about that.
I don't know if anybody else thinks we're funny, but I think we're funny.
Why are you putting us or we into this?
The leadoff spot, weekdays at 7 a.m. Eastern on MLB Network Radio, Channel 89, and on the SiriusXM app.
Hello, Blue Jay fans. I'm Craig Ballard, host of your daily Locked On Blue Jays podcast. Locked On Blue Jays is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Locked On Blue Jays brings you the latest Blue Jays news and analysis and breaks down all of the action. Locked On Blue Jays is everything a Blue Jays fan could want, all in a 30-minute daily podcast. Download Locked On Blue Jays right now on the SXM app, available with all trials and popular plans, or wherever you get your podcasts. Search Locked On Blue Jays.
Jays fans, this is George Springer, and you're listening to Blue Jays Baseball on SiriusXM.
George Springer, airborne, snatches it out of the sky!
Junior Jays Sunday is on for tomorrow. Come early and enjoy all the outdoor activities starting at 10:30 a.m., including inflatables, games, and more. And the fun continues inside throughout the game. Head to BlueJays.com/JuniorJays to get your tickets today. That's BlueJays.com/JRJays to get your tickets today. Top of the 8th inning, Ryan Burr in for the Blue Jays. His first pitch to Gio Urshela is popped up back of second. Davis Schneider into a strip of sunlight called off by George Springer, who moves into shallow right center and makes the catch. 1 out.
60-degree launch angle on that one, basically straight vertical.
Yeah, you're not going to see that many that leave the infield, especially, that get hit higher than that off the bat of Urshela. So now 1 out, and Burr, working in his 8th appearance of the year, improves on that low 2s ERA. His pitch to Ryan Valade, high ball 1. Saw Burr yesterday for one batter, came in and struck out Mark Canha, swinging on a fastball to end the 8th. Here's 1-0. Hit on the ground to short, picked up by Jimenez. Crow hop and throw to first. It's there, 2 down. Burr spent 4 years with the White Sox, 2018, 19, 2021, and 2022. All of last year in the minor leagues, acquired by the Blue Jays from the Philadelphia system this year. And Ibanez up the pitch. Strike 1. Four-seamer and slider is the mix for the righty. He's set just above the belt and delivers home. Swing and a pop-up just over the plate, in between the plate and the mound. Guerrero, the third baseman, takes charge, runs in, and makes an underhanded catch to end the inning. Very quick 1-2-3 for Ryan Burr sends the Blue Jays back to the bats, trailing 7-3. Bottom of the 8th is next. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know your vehicle rusts faster in warm weather? Protect your vehicle today. For a special summer offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
We're 2 men and a truck. So, you're moving to a new home, and all that's left to do is to call a mover you know you can trust. Well, naturally, you think 2 men and a truck, since you know they have lots of men and lots of trucks. They'll wrap, pack, and move everything you own. With a 96% referral rating and the professionalism you can trust, the choice is simple. For a free in-home estimate, call today. We're 2 men and a truck.
2 men and a truck, the movers who care.
Tuesdays on City TV are all about talent.
That was amazing.
Watch all new episodes of AGT.
This was a level up.
Spectacular. You were born to do this.
With mind-blowing acts.
It's mesmerizing. Your stars.
That'll have you saying,
yes, 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 yes.
I think there's a good chance that you're going to walk out of here with $1 million.
America's Got Talent. All new. Tuesdays 8, 7 Central on City TV or stream it on City TV Plus.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
It's Ernie Clement with the RBI single. 1-0 Toronto.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Ernie Clement pinch hitting for the Blue Jays as we start the bottom of the 8th in Toronto. 7-3 Detroit over Toronto. Tyler Holton, the lefty, still in for the Tigers, and Clement fouls back the first pitch. 0-1. Kevin Kiermaier lifted from the game. John Schneider removing that left-on-left matchup that A.J. Hinch was trying to create. So now Clement in the spot of Kiermaier. 0-1. Bounce back to the mound, fielded by the pitcher Holton. He'll jog to first and underhand flip for the first out. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Ben Nicholson-Smith, top of the order now for the Blue Jays.
Interesting to see the Blue Jays pinch hit right there, going to their bench. They certainly used their bench extensively yesterday, using 3 of the 4 bench players, and they were possibly going to use a 4th if they had rallied in the 9th inning.
Left on right, the pitch to Springer. Swing and a miss, strike 1. It seemed like there were 2 opportunities to use the bench yesterday with the lefty Holton, who's pitching now, into close. There was a look that, hey, maybe they'd pinch run Danny Jansen for Alejandro Kirk if Kirk got on representing the tying run, because the Blue Jays were only down 1. 0-1. Swing and a miss, 0-2. And then the 4th batter due up that inning, who never ended up hitting, was Kevin Kiermaier. And it appeared that Danny Jansen was going to pinch hit for him in that spot, which would have left the Blue Jays bench empty and Kirk and Jansen in the lineup together. 0-2. Outside 1-2.
That would have led to some interesting defensive configuration.
I asked John Schneider today just because I was curious what they were going to do, and a lot of things, but Jansen would have been at first base is the simple answer. 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Springer goes down. That's the third strikeout in an inning and 2/3 for Holton.
Very off-balance swing there from George Springer. He's made good contact his last time up, of course, driving in a run, but that time he did not line up his timing against Holton.
So 2 down now, and here's Spencer Horwitz. Left on left, the pitch from Holton. Strike 1. Horwitz 0 for 2 today, a walk and a run scored. He reached on a fielder's choice in the 6th and scored on the Guerrero homer. The kick and the pitch. Down and away. Action in both bullpens. Shelby Miller up in right field for the Tigers. Jimmy Garcia up in left field for the Blue Jays. The 1-1. Strike 2. Horwitz frozen on a fastball.
Really good work from Holton against the Blue Jays these last couple days. He has been an important part of the Tigers pitching staff.
1-2-3 save in the 9th inning yesterday, and today he's faced 6 batters. He's retired 5 of them. Just the Davis Schneider single in the 7th has been the only blemish on his line. 1-2 to Horwitz. Swing and a bouncing ball hit at the third baseman, Urshela. He gets up and throws to first in time to end the inning. Another 1-2-3 for the Tigers pen sends us to the 9th in a 7-3 ball game. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Here's what's happening on Sirius XM Sports.
WNBA rookie sensations Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are putting their rivalry aside to join forces as Team WNBA squares off against Team USA in the WNBA All-Star Game. ESPN Extra has live play-by-play coverage from Phoenix starting at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM Channel 81 and the Sirius XM app.
Sirius XM Sports. Wherever you are, your team plays here.
Every night after the final out, the Round Trip Roundup brings you the scores, highlights, and analysis from every game across Major League Baseball, all in less than 30 minutes.
Swung on and missed, strike 3 and a no-hitter.
It's the perfect way to get caught up on all the night's biggest home runs and best performances.
And a high drive, deep right center.
It's the Round Trip Roundup on MLB Network Radio every night on Sirius XM Channel 89 and every morning on the Sirius XM app.
It's fantasy football season, because we say it is.
Travis Kelce, touchdown!
From fantasy football strategies to players you need to draft or avoid.
Christian McCaffrey is one of the riskiest #1 overall picks in fantasy football history.
Fantasy Sports Radio is your home to win.
There is no bigger value today than Dak Prescott.
If you're not preparing for the 2024 fantasy football season, you're already losing. Channel 87 and on the all-new Sirius XM app.
In season or out of season, the #1 place for college sports is Sirius XM College Sports Radio, Channel 84.
At Radio Network.
This copyrighted broadcast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership or the Sportsnet Radio Network. Welcome back to Rogers Center. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Top of the 9th inning, Blue Jays and Tigers right now. It's 7-3 for Detroit. Jimmy Garcia into the game for the Blue Jays, and Colt Keith pinch hitting, a left-handed hitter off of A.J. Hinch's bench, batting for Justin Henry Malloy in the DH spot. A couple Blue Jays defensive switches as well. Ernie Clement pinch hit for Kevin Kiermaier, so Varsho moves to center. Schneider from second to left, and Clement is playing second. Garcia's pitch, outside, ball 1. For Jimmy Garcia, his first appearance since June 16th, 28th appearance of the year, 2.57 ERA, 1-0. Fastball misses upstairs at 95, 2 balls and no strikes. Righty rocks and delivers. Swing and a pop-up foul into the seats, left side. What are you watching for here in the first Garcia appearance back?
I think the radar gun is one part of it, and he's been 95, 96 with the fastball. Secondly, it's throwing strikes and just getting a feel for the strike zone.
2-1. Fouled off the glove of Jansen and rolling away to the right. It's 0-2.
We've seen when he has his fastball velocity, the plus breaking balls that he has, the ability to throw strikes with all those pitches, that's what makes him such a good reliever. So just looking for those ingredients will tell us how close he is to being ready.
2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Got him on the changeup. There's one down.
And that's exactly what you want to see from Jimmy Garcia if you're the Blue Jays. It's mixing pitches, it's throwing the off-speed for strikes, it's challenging hitters, and velocity above 95. So after one batter, that's a good start.
His next challenge is Matt Vierling, is 2 for 4. The pitch. Strike 1. And it's such a deep mix for Garcia relative to other relievers. Four-seamer sinker, curve sweeper slider, and changeup. The 0-1. Hit down the right field line. Springer on the run near the corner. It's slicing and it's foul. Springer dove and bumped into the wall. I think he was slowed down by the dirt before he fully got to the wall, so he didn't really slam into it, and he appears to be all right, but went full stretch to try and get it out there for Garcia.
There's so little foul territory down the baselines here at Rogers Center, so Springer goes in and braces himself with his feet against that low wall. Seems to be totally fine, but max effort right there.
No balls and 2 strikes is now the count. 1 out and the base is empty, top of the 9th. 7-3 Tigers, the 0-2. Swing and a miss. Another strikeout for Garcia, this one on the sweeper, and there are 2 down.
And as you said, Ben, it's that starting pitcher's arsenal that Jimmy Garcia brings in from the bullpen. This time the sweeper, he actually left it up over the plate, but Vierling wasn't anticipating it, swings right through it for the second strikeout.
So 2 down, both on swinging strikeouts. Here's Mark Canha. The pitch. Breaking ball freezes Canha for strike 1. Garcia pitching against Detroit for the second time this year. Got roughed up by the Tigers in his other appearance. The 0-1 outside, 1-1. In a rare tough outing for him in the first half. It was the game the Blue Jays lost 14-11. Garcia entered with the lead in the 8th inning and left with the game tied, surrendering 2 runs. 1-1. Bounce behind home plate foul, 1-2. Game would go into extras, and Matt Vierling, who just struck out, would hit a 3-run walk-off home run to win that game and the series for Detroit. But really, that is one of very few rough outings that Garcia has had.
He's been dominant all season. He's consistently faced the top of the order from other teams. We're seeing that here again today.
2 down, and the 1-2 pitch. Canha holds back on a breaking ball that misses outside, 2-2.
It's a good 2-strike pitch, trying to get Canha to expand, but he does not.
Canha with his 40th walk of the season today, 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Welcome back, Jimmy Garcia. He strikes out the side and sends us to the bottom of the 9th inning. Blue Jays need 4 to tie, 5 to win, down 7-3 at Rogers Center. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Centers, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Lumos. Witches, wizards, and muggles come down to the core as Rogers Center transforms into Hogwarts. Harry Potter-themed entertainment and activities around the ballpark.
Wingardium Leviosa.
Magic moments create core memories. So fly down to Rogers Center on Friday, August 9th, and get one of 4 Blue Jays Harry Potter Hogwarts House Raglan shirts. Harry Potter Night. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
Hi, I'm Buck Martinez, live from the showdown between Pizza Pizza and inflation. First to the plate, Pizza Pizza's big hitter, fixed rate pizza. An extra large 4-topping pizza for a fixed price of $17.99 until the end of 2024. I dare say, folks, inflation stands no chance against this all-star. Here's the delivery. And inflation strikes out. That's a swing and a drive for fixed rate pizza. Lock in yours today.
Order pizzapizza.ca. This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Fastball hit to center field. Varsho with a dive, and he makes the catch.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome back to Blue Jays baseball. Show Ali with you. The Jays trail the Tigers 7-3 as we head to the bottom of the 9th inning here at the Rogers Center. Don't forget, we have Jays Talk today. I have a solo edition of the postgame show. We'll take your calls and texts. I'll throw out the numbers to call after the final out. You can text me as well, 590-590, name and location. That's the People's Text line. It is always open. Standard message and data rates may apply. Blue Jays baseball is brought to you by Crown Rust Protection. Again, Jays trail the Tigers 7-3, bottom 9 here at the Rogers Center. Shelby Miller on for the Tigers here at the Rogers Center, bottom 9. Here's Ben Schulman and Ben Nicholson-Smith.
Thank you very much, Show. Blue Jays need 4 to tie, 5 to win, down 7-3. And the veteran Shelby Miller, 33-year-old right-hander, enters for his 30th appearance of the season. Out of the bullpen, he has a 5-6 record and a 5.23 earned run average. Miller, a guy who was once an all-star with Atlanta, pitched for a while for the Cardinals and the Diamondbacks, but that was as a starter, has bounced around as a reliever over the past couple seasons. Right-hander looks in at Vladimir Guerrero Jr., 3 for 3 with a 2-run homer. The pitch. Fastball, strike one.
Homers in 3 straight games now for Vlad Guerrero Jr. The OPS up to 836 on the season with those 16 home runs.
0-1. Lined, caught at first by Canna. You can't ask for much harder contact than that, but Canna with a leap at first base brings it in. And that's the first time Guerrero is retired today.
The home run for Vladdy went to center field, but we've seen him hit the ball to right field a few times, including that one to first base, but a couple of his base hits went to the right field side.
Canada just positioned perfectly there. Now one out, here's Justin Turner. The pitch. Strike one. A couple of former Dodgers, although not teammates. Miller was a big part of the Dodgers pen last season. 0-1. Strike two. Another four-seam fastball from Miller, who throws low to mid-90s with the four-seamer. Has a splitter and a slider, too. 0-2. Missed down and away. Blue Jays down 7-3 in this game, and it's that big 6th inning for the Tigers that has really been the difference. 6 runs in that frame, including a Jake Rogers grand slam. 1-2. Fouled back. Just felt a little similar for Yusei Kikuchi to the last start. Different circumstances in some ways for sure, but 5 very good innings. Allows 3 to reach to start the 6th. Then he comes out and a grand slam follows right after. 1-2. Fouled off over the netting.
Yeah, it's true. He was able to get off to such a good start here against the Tigers, but lost the strike zone with those last batters he faced, Canna and Perez, and just wasn't able to get that nice ending that I'm sure he would have liked here pitching against Detroit.
1-2. Bounce to the plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Miller palming up the ball, now steps back on the first base side of the rubber and sets out his belt. Tan glove for the righty, who looks in, kicks, and delivers. Turner hits it in the air, center field, playable for Vierling, who went in, then back, then breaks back in and makes a two-handed catch. 2 down, Blue Jays down to their final chance. Danny Jansen steps up for Toronto, trying to extend this game. It's 7-3 for the Tigers with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. Tigers have won 9 of 11 here, trying to make it 10 of 12 and make a bid for 500. The pitch. Swing and a fly ball. Very shallow left center. Baez, the shortstop, called off by Valet, the left fielder, who brings it in to end the game. The Tigers score 6 in the 6th and don't look back. They beat the Blue Jays 7-3. They take the game and they take the series, winning the first 2.
Another loss for the Blue Jays, this one sending them 10 games below 500 for the first time this season, for the first time since 2019. They've been that far below the 500 mark. And it was a day where the bullpen did give up a lot of runs, a lot of big swings, and it was Trevor Richards whose recent struggles continued, allowing that grand slam to Jake Rogers. Just a huge swing in this game. So despite some really good work from Yusei Kikuchi, despite a really encouraging return from Jimmy Garcia, who strikes out the side in the top of the 9th inning against the Tigers, this game ends in disappointment for the Blue Jays as they fall to 44-54.
Toronto will try to regroup tomorrow and salvage the series. We're not done with this one just yet, though. We'll take a quick step aside, come back on the other side, and wrap it up before sending you over to Blue Jays Talk with Show Ali. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by our local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle.
Did you know your vehicle rusts faster in warm weather? Protect your vehicle today. For a special summer offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
We're 2 men in a truck, the movers who care. You never know when cardiac arrest can happen. That's why each and every one of our trucks carries a life-saving Mikey defibrillator as part of our Mikey on Board program. Whether we're on the highway or in front of your house, we're prepared to help anyone whose heart may skip a beat. The Mikey Network has saved many lives, making Mikeys accessible to the public. And now they're on board our trucks. We're 2 men in a truck.
2 men and a truck, the movers who care.
Hey, this is Chris Bassett. You're listening to Toronto Blue Jays Baseball on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome back to Rogers Center in downtown Toronto. The Blue Jays fall 7-3 today to the Detroit Tigers. They have lost the first 2 of the series, so the Tigers take the series here in Toronto on the back of a huge 6th inning. We've discussed the 6th inning. I'm Ben Schulman, by the way, alongside Ben Nicholson-Smith. We've discussed that 6th inning. We've discussed the start of Yusei Kikuchi and Trevor Richards. Let's flip over to the other side, Ben. Reese Olson, starting today for the Tigers, pitches 2 scoreless innings and then has to exit with right shoulder soreness. That springs the Tiger bullpen into action, and they cover 7 innings in this game, allowing 3 runs. They ended up pitching well as a whole today.
They really did, and this was an opportunity for the Blue Jays hitters to do more than they did. But we've seen this happen, unfortunately, for the Blue Jays all too often this season. Their offense did not come through. I mean, Vlad Guerrero Jr. with another home run, a 2-run shot. That's homers in 3 consecutive games, so he's doing his part. But beyond that, there just wasn't a lot. The non-Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hitters on this team accounted for 1 run on 3 hits. And even with Vlad Jr., it was 3 runs on 6 hits. So the offense wasn't there, and they needed offense on a day that their bullpen allowed a grand slam.
Blue Jays lone offense, really, like you mentioned, comes from Vlad, the 3 hits and the home run. They did get an RBI single from George Springer after a Kevin Kiermaier double in the game as well. If you're going to search for positives, though, in the 7-3 loss, perhaps you look over to the Blue Jays' pen later in the game when both Eric Swanson and Jimmy Garcia pitched scoreless innings. What did you think?
I saw positives from both, and I think that is legitimately a silver lining in this game, despite the loss, because Swanson, he had been down in the minors for 2 months. That's a long time to be away, and Jimmy Garcia last pitched on June the 16th, so that's over a month for him. These are extended absences from players who were expected to be big parts of this bullpen. So Swanson comes in, gives the Blue Jays a 1-2-3 inning and throws strikes. Jimmy Garcia comes in, He's throwing everything. He's mixing in his breaking balls. He's throwing 95 to 97 with the fastball. 3 swinging strikeouts? That is phenomenal. You could not ask for a better return than what Jimmy Garcia gave them. So it might be a short-lived return for Jimmy Garcia, probably getting traded at some point in the next 10 days. But that return was definitely a step forward for this Blue Jays team and really for the organization.
Blue Jays do fall in the game, though. 7-3 is the final score. The Tigers score 7 on 9 hits, no errors, and 6 left on. 3 runs on 6 hits for the Blue Jays, 1 error, 2 left on. In relief, the first guy out of the pen, Alex Faedo, is given the win. He goes to 5-1. Yusei Kikuchi's loss drops his record to 4-9. No save today in a game that 38,583 were here for. Another 38,000 plus on this sunny weekend in Toronto. It took 2 hours and 36 minutes, and it was a beautiful 27 degrees in Toronto, but the Blue Jays end up losing 7-3. Tigers are now 1 back of 500 at 49-50 after winning 10 of 12 games, and the Blue Jays, as Ben had mentioned earlier, dropped to 10 games below 500 at 44-54. Toronto tries to avoid a sweep tomorrow at Rogers Center. 1:37 is the time of first pitch. We'll have local pregame in Toronto at 1 o'clock. Kevin Gausman against Cater Montero. Should be a fun one. Thanks for tuning in today, and hope to see you tomorrow. For our technical directors, Andrew Adams and Tom Young, Nick Blackmore, our producer, Show Ali, our host, and my partner, Ben Nicholson-Smith, I'm Ben Schulman. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and stick around. Calls and texts coming right now, because Blue Jays Talk with Show Ali starts right now.
The same issues Blair and today. The decent starting pitching marred by both the lack of offense and the bullpen not holding up in specific spots. There were some interesting returns for guys we hadn't seen in a long time today. I guess the only difference these days is that the deadline is 10 days from today. So every Jays conversation we have is tinged by trade value. It's tinged by prospect discussions. Who should go? Who should stay? Who should be let go from a job? Who shouldn't be? But it's a complicated discussion. I think actually a lot of fans think it's a pretty simple discussion. But today down at the Rogers Center, we heard the Boo Birds in the top of that 6th inning. The Jays got dumped by the Tigers to lose the series. 7-3, they lose. They are now 10 games under 500 at 44-54. I'm Show Ali. You're listening to Jays Talk live on the Sportsnet Radio Network. We're also streaming on sportsnet.ca and on the Sportsnet app. Give us a call, 416-870-0590, 1-888-666-0590, star 590 on your cell. You can text me as well, 590-590, name and location. The People's Text Line, it is always open for your texting pleasure. Standard messaging and data rates may apply. I don't want to pile on when it comes to the Jays, certainly these days. Sometimes I feel like it's hard not to, but the Jays actually enter today's game with a 1.1% chance to make the playoffs, according to Fangraphs. I think Fangraphs and Baseball Reference, it's a little different, I suppose. I like to use the Fangraphs website, despite Baseball Reference being a phenomenal resource. But 1.1% chance prior to this game. So I'm not sure how another loss versus other teams winning, like the Rays, for example, won 9-1 over the Yankees. I'm not sure how that affects the playoff odds exactly, but you got to think that with other teams above you in the race winning, actually the Tigers too. The Tigers are also above the Jays in the playoff race. You got to think a loss lowers those odds. Maybe, honestly, for the first time all season, might be below 1%. Again, text me 590-590, name and location. And you can certainly reach me there via the text line, 590-590, and you can reach me on the phones, 416-870-0590, 1-888-666-0590, star 590 on your cell. Okay, let's talk about Yusei Kikuchi. And it was funny because before the All-Star break, it was, to borrow a turn of phrase, the best times, the worst of times, right? He goes out and carves up the Giants for a career best 13 strikeouts. He walks 3, gives up, I think it was 7 earned runs with those 3 walks against the Diamondbacks after the 13K strikeout game against the Giants. So you got really good, you got really not so good. We had heard from John Schneider after that last game that he was kind of winded after trying to cover first, and he never quite recovered from it, and it was kind of a little shaky. I don't know. Today I was specifically looking out for 2 things after that start. Would he be able to simply throw strikes? Would he locate pitches with some heat? And against a team of basically all right-handed hitters today, Perez was the one switch hitter, how effective the change would be. And as we discussed those last two starts, today, unfortunately, was very similar to the Arizona start before the All-Star break. And so early on, it looked pretty good, right? I mean, the results, I think we all felt we were looking more towards San Francisco Kikuchi. You know, you filled the strike zone after the third inning, maybe a little bit more pitches than you wanted, 51, maybe about 70% strikes. He got up to 78 pitches after 5 innings. He gives up that single run, which was honestly a great job by Ibanez, I'll say. It was a laser down the third base line. But, man, once again, he lost the zone in the 6th inning, right? A single, I think it was a wild pitch. There was a walk, a hit by pitch. He kind of lost some command there. Kikuchi gets lifted after that happened. And I had said this to Jesse before the All-Star break, and I hope he's doing okay, actually. I think Jesse is either on a plane or is in Paris already. So we won't have Jesse with us for quite some time, but I hope he's doing all right. He's going to kill it, I'm sure. But I had said it to him that on one hand, I generally don't think that bad outings, barring giving up, getting absolutely cratered, I generally don't believe those outings hurt his value at all, because you got to think that most teams interested have done their due diligence at this point of the year. But at the same time, I do wonder, to Jesse's point from last weekend, what that scouting report says, in the sense that maybe contending teams looking to acquire Kikuchi might think to themselves, all right, well, this is a guy who does pretty good for 3 to 4 innings, 4 to 5 innings, maybe 6 innings, depending on how well he's throwing the ball. He clearly is capable of it, as we know. But maybe his value is in the bullpen for the playoffs, and as we know, in the playoffs, rotations get a little bit shorter, right? As opposed to being a starter in the playoffs. And I would say most contenders who are probably looking to acquire starters, maybe with the exception of the Dodgers, because the Dodgers, gosh, you can make a whole starting rotation out of the guys who are on the IL. You could probably make a half a starting rotation out of the guys who are on the 60-day IL, much less the 15-day IL. But even with all of those things, right, I kind of wonder if he might not be a starter for the regular season and only in the playoffs. Maybe he's there in the regular season just to get the team to the playoffs, and then he's not in the rotation. And I don't know. I just think there's a lot more than just what do you want for Kikuchi when it comes to conversations teams are having with the Jays. And I suppose if teams do come to the conclusion that he's not going to be a frontline starter in the playoffs, then they would be less willing to give up a role. If his role was a bigger one, maybe less willing to give up a better prospect or something similar versus what they would send. I don't know. We're thinking that losing some command is a red flag. You also, I think, by the same token, have to think that a green flag would be the swing and miss, the 8 strikeouts, which were all pretty nasty. But still, I don't know. He's easily the most attractive trade piece for the Jays. It's tough to see him get deep consistently for a few starts. The 8 strikeouts were all pretty nasty, but I don't know. I waffle a little bit on whether or not his trade value was hurt significantly, because he still pitches so well for large chunks of the game. But I just can't help but think if role-wise, perhaps other teams are starting to wonder if it's as a starter long-term between now and the end of the regular season. Because if you're acquiring him as a UFA, that's kind of what you're looking for. I guess those conversations could come with, hey, we're going to give you a contract. It's this much. What do you think about that? But largely, if you're going to acquire a UFA, you got to think that what are you going to do for me this season, right? I mean, the Orioles did that with Jack Flaherty just last year. They went out and got Flaherty, and then he didn't re-sign with them, right? So that's always going to be a part of the conversation. So what is Kikuchi's role going to be going forward if he's not a Blue Jay? And I think that's going to be a really interesting one. 416-870-0590. 1-888-666-0590, star 590 on your cell. Let's go to the phones. Let's go out east. Let's go to Bob in Nova Scotia. Bob, what's up?
Yeah, hi. It's kind of what you touched on there. You've been touching on since the start of the show. Just curious, the last 2 outings by Kikuchi, just kind of what are your thoughts on, do you think, going forward, if those last 2 outings have kind of hurt his trade value going forward? His ERA is I think 4.54 right now. And when he throws 5 innings, he seems to hit a wall right after that. So I'm just curious, what are your thoughts on that show? Thank you.
Well, Bob, before you go, let me ask you, because I was just saying I don't think it's been hurt too badly. I'm not saying it hasn't been affected, I think, at all. I think it probably has been affected a little bit. But what do you think? Because while I think it hasn't been changed too badly, I do kind of wonder if at the same time people might view his role differently if he's not going to re-sign with them.
Yeah, so I think that pretty much, I don't think it's hurt too much. I think it's kind of like, I think they'll get probably the same what they were going to get before. I don't think they're going to get a ton for him anyway, and it's probably around the same lines as that. I think they're probably going to, I don't think it's hurt too much.
Hey, Bob, thanks for the call. No, I appreciate it, man. I think, again, I largely believe 10 games out from the deadline that other teams look at what these guys are and they think to themselves, all right, we largely know what Kikuchi is. He can throw really hard. He's a left-hander. There's some great matchups there, but he can run into some trouble against righties. The changeup has been a better weapon for him this season, and he did use it today, certainly. But maybe there is something to be said about him going to teams where, if you're a playoff contender or you have playoff aspirations, and I don't think there's a lot of teams that have the bullpen that the Blue Jays do, which is to say, not so great bullpen, but I do wonder if maybe that's mitigated a little bit if he's being acquired by a team that does have a really good bullpen. Maybe it doesn't really matter all that much if they can utilize other bullpen arms. What if the Guardians come to mind? I just think of them off the top of my head. If the Guardians really wanted Yusei, they have an unbelievable bullpen. So does it really matter if Kikuchi can get through 5 innings for the Guardians, let's just say, and then they can go straight to the bullpen? That's probably fine. Right, that's probably fine, but again, it does beg the question: do teams really want to roll the dice on that? I always thought if you were going to trade a starter specifically, mainly because Bowden Francis pitched for the Bisons, I think yesterday, and I thought he looked okay in the highlights I saw. I didn't watch the game live, but I watched some of the post game packages the MLB puts together, and yeah, he looked okay, right, largely speaking, but. You got to think that, I don't understand bring up Bowden Francis because you have to think that if Kikuchi is not a Blue Jay and Yariel Rodriguez is still only going, he's throwing 80 to 85 pitches a start, he's only going into the 5th inning, and if he's hyper efficient going just beyond that, which is great. I'm actually quite bullish on Wyrod, but you need someone to start for you, right? Someone's got to start games for the Blue Jays beyond Gausman, Bassett, Barrios, right? So if Kikuchi is gone, I always kind of felt that you almost by default needed a major league arm to come back with whatever prospects you're getting, right? Which is why I kind of always found the Dodgers in such an interesting trade partner because they have a whole whack of guys. And they have a roster crunch coming, too. Last I checked, they had a whole bunch of guys not only on the IL, but on the 60-day IL. And if you're on the 60-day, as we know, you don't count towards the 40-man roster. So, of course, if they're pushing for playoffs, they're going to need to clean up some of those guys coming off the 60 days. So, could those guys be potential trade targets for the Blue Jays? I don't know that they would trade an Emmett Sheehan, for example, for Kikuchi. But I kind of, in my head, felt that the Aroldis Chapman trade that the Royals and Rangers did last year, and Aroldis Chapman goes back to Texas and a prospect alongside Cole Reagans goes back to Kansas City, someone who is injured but who could be a piece going forward. Ben talked about Reese Olson himself getting traded at the time, a relatively unknown guy, and now here he is a couple of years later as a pretty reliable starter. So that's the kind of trade the Jays should be exploring. But I don't know, teams want to give up good prospects and a major league arm for someone like Kikuchi who maybe is capped a little bit. I'm not sure. Let's go to the phones again. 416-870-0590, 1-888-666-0590, star 590 on your cell. Guy in Maple. Guy, what's up?
Hey, Sean, you make a lot of good points, and they got to be a little bit more strategic these last couple of weeks, especially with their pitchers. If Yusei's taken out of the 5th inning, cosmetically, he goes 5 innings, he gives up a run. It should have been unearned. And, he's got a clean game. If you put him out in the 6th inning, have a short leash with him and take him out. They left him in too long, just like they did in the Arizona game. He had, I think it was in the 5th inning where he blew up. And, after the grand slam from Marte, they still kept him in for another 5 batters. And cosmetics is everything. And, the last 3 games, he could have easily, had 3 games where he gave up 4 runs and struck out, I think you said 13 guys against San Fran, or 14, I can't remember
13,
how many it was. And, his value, I don't think is going to change that much, but it might make a difference from getting a top 5 prospect to a top 10. And quite frankly, Kikuchi kind of reminds me of Barrios when we picked him up. Same type of, ERA, same type of pitchers, consistent 6 innings. You're not going to get more than that. And we had to give up 2 top 5 prospects. I don't know why all of a sudden now we got a lefty who's a flamethrower, and we're talking about maybe getting a top 15 prospect from a team.
Right.
I don't want to give away any players. If they're not going to give us something for Kikuchi or Garcia or Richards or whatever, then just keep them. I mean, re-sign Kikuchi or do something. But I mean, obviously, I'd like to trade him. I just want to know your thoughts on, should the Jays use that type of strategy? And even for a guy like Danny Jansen, maybe, play him every other day, keep him fresh, and maybe he'll put up some hits and go from there. Sorry, I don't mean to be long-winded, but
no, not at all. Okay.
Just want to know your thoughts on that.
Yeah, thanks for the call as always, man. Yeah, I mean, first of all, on Danny Jansen, I mean, this is a guy who has like an OPS hovering around like 460, 475 since the beginning of June. It's been tough. I honestly wonder, like, just because we're talking about trade value, I honestly wonder what value Danny Jansen has in terms of like prospects. Like, I think I've said a couple times, while I would be disappointed if they don't trade basically all the UFAs, I guess if the one guy, if they kept, I wouldn't mind that much, honestly, would be Danny Jansen, mainly because I don't think it's going to be that expensive to keep him, and he's been with the team for a long time. He clearly works well with the staff, but I mean, obviously, if someone comes to you and says, "Hey, we're going to give you a pretty good prospect for him," I think you almost are obligated to do it. But yeah, it's tough to watch trade value for different guys fluctuate so wildly, it feels like. I do agree that like there is some there's some truth, I should say, to the cosmetic nature of Kikuchi coming out of this game with 1 earned run versus 4 earned runs, right? Or throwing slightly less pitches, 94 pitches he threw today, 62 of them were strikes, those kinds of things, right? I do agree that there is some value in that. But I mean, on the bullpen side of things, they could have, I don't want to say easily by any means, because it's never an easy job to be a reliever. It's such a pressure-packed job. But, I mean, the guy to go to in that situation, come on, it couldn't have been Trevor Richards, right? Like, there's no way. I'm not trying to be mean, but I have been a defender of Richards in the past. But his value, in terms of trade value, I almost feel like he's not going to get traded, right? Like, it feels like the trade value for Richards has all but evaporated at this point. Like, in the month of July, this actually doesn't include today's game, right? So in the month of July, in 7 2/3, in 7 appearances, 8 hits, 9 runs, 8 of them earned, an ERA of 9.39. And today, so again, this does not include today. Today he gave up, he had in 1 out, so like 0.1 innings pitched, right? He gave up 4 hits, 3 runs, all of which were earned, and that doesn't. And you can debate this, whether or not this is the right thing for baseball, right? I mean, people always argue about this, but it doesn't account for the 3 runs that also got charged to Kikuchi since Richards entered with the bases loaded, then gives up a grand slam to Jake Rogers. It wasn't the most terrible pitch I've ever seen, because it was kind of on the inside of the zone, a 4-seamer at 95 miles an hour. But Rogers, and you have to be a little more careful with those guys, especially when you've been struggling. And I don't know. I would be surprised if he got traded at this point. But like we saw Brendan Little, I think it was, come in right after Richards. You have to think that Richards has dropped further in the order of bullpen deployment when it comes to high leverage situations. Like, you have to. You almost have to believe that. Like, there was a text from Jen in Toronto. Jen, always appreciate it. 590-590, name and location. That's the People's Text line. Standard messaging and data rates may apply if you do choose to shoot me a text. But this is from Jen, and Jen said, why did Schneider in a 1-0 game put in the faltering Richards? You need at least a strikeout. Here's Pearson or Jimmy. This Richards changeup, weak fastball mix is not fooling anyone but the weakest hitters. And it's true. I mean, I don't think they would have. Here's the thing. I don't think you would have used either of those guys. I understand why you say Pearson, because Pearson can get strikeouts. I don't believe Pearson was actually with the team today. I think that was something that we learned right before the game. I think he had the flu, and so they sent him home to kind of like quarantine to a certain extent. I don't know if that's the right word, but like they sent him away from the team just to be away, because if you guys remember, I think there was like multiple parts of the season earlier this year where the flu was like going around the clubhouse, so probably for the best to like mitigate that as much as humanly possible. So I don't think Pearson was an option. I can understand why they wouldn't want to use Jimmy Garcia because neither he nor Swanson pitched yesterday. I can kind of understand why they didn't use him in the highest leverage spot at the time, because I don't know, like, do you really want a guy who's been injured, he hasn't pitched in ages, coming back with the bases loaded and no outs? I would say, personally, I would say no. But I do think there was a better option than Richards. Like, you could have gone to little. I'm not saying Burr has necessarily earned that cachet of like going into a game with the bases loaded and no outs, but I mean, gosh, it's got to be like anyone other than Trevor Richards. And I got to imagine it's at least in part done because you're showcasing guys, but that's tough. Like, that's real tough. By the way, on Swanson, Burr, and Jimmy Garcia, let's talk about those guys real quick before we go back to the phones, back to the text line. First outing for Swanson since May 27th. He only threw 7 pitches. 6 of them were strikes for 3 outs. We did see the splitter. I was looking forward to seeing if he would throw the splitter a lot. He didn't throw it a ton. I mean, he threw it twice. But he threw it against Perez. It got a ground out from Perez, so he got an out with the splitter. That's good to see there. He threw the slider and four-seamer. It was, like, all things considered, a pretty low-leverage outing. But I think it breeds some confidence for a guy who hasn't pitched in months, essentially. He actually hadn't pitched a full inning with no hits allowed since May 30th, and none of his 16 AAA outings fit that description. So I will take the few positives where I can. There's actually a great article on MLB.com by our pal Keegan Matheson, and Keegan wrote, it was a lengthy interview with Swanson, and talked about the journey back, right, and the support he's gotten, and certainly the tumultuous year he's had from the scary incident with his son Toby in the spring. So, like, he obviously is all the way back from all of those things, and it's good to know that, like, just from a family perspective, everyone's okay. But that he's back, and we saw him pitch well, I would say. It's I would definitely encourage you guys to go read it. Burr, he was needed for 1 out yesterday. Okay, he threw 6 pitches to wrap up that inning. Today he came up for a full inning and he threw 5 pitches for 3 outs. I don't know. I've said this before. I think there's something to be had with Burr. Like, even if his role is not a super high leverage one, I don't know if he can be the guy who can get the ball out of the hand of the starter into the hands of the high leverage guys, then you know what? That's a job well done. Like, he did it. He did his job. That's something to keep an eye on, I think, primarily because if Richards, probably less with Richards, but if Jimmy Garcia, if Chad Green, if these guys are getting traded, then out of necessity, Burr is going to have to pitch more. So it's, I think, a positive thing. You're seeing at least something positive from Burr. And on Garcia, I mean, he made his return today when he came in. I mean, what were we looking for, right? We were all looking for the same thing. Can he locate strikes? Did he have ability to throw strikes with all of those pitchers, like the pitchers, pardon me, the four-seamer, the sinker. He throws the slider. He throws the change. He throws the sweeper sometimes. So the velo, of course, was the velo going to be there, and he uses the velo quite effectively. I mean, who doesn't, right? But was the velo going to still be there? And I'm very happy to see that we saw him challenging guys, right? That's what you want to see. Like, he went right after Colt Keith, got him for a K. The velo was around 95, 96 miles an hour. He used the sweeper, a pretty like an 85, 86 mile an hour sweeper to catch Matt Vierling off guard after a pair of fastballs that were also clocked around 96 miles an hour. And then with Canha got to see the whole shebang. He got the whole arsenal. Canha got to see the sweeper, the four-seamer, the curve, the sinker, and the changeup. So he got to see basically every pitch he throws, and the four-seamer was clocked at 97 miles an hour. So that is great to see for a couple of reasons, obviously, both for just his own health. I always have been a big fan of Jimmy Garcia, especially after that disappointing injury. So good to see him acquit himself well. And just, let's be honest, for trade value, right? I mean, he's after Kikuchi, Garcia has got to be the next most valuable trade chip. I got to think, right? I gotta say, I just love watching Jimmy dominate guys. There's something so like effortlessly cool when he's pitching well. I think that's really cool. Let's go back to the phones. 416-870-0590, 1-888-666-0590, star 590 on your cell. Chris in St. Catharines. Chris, what's up?
How you doing? First time caller with you, I think. I think I've talked to Blair before, but I've never talked to you, Show.
That's true, yeah. Appreciate the call, man.
Okay, so my question was, and I was talking to the guy offline, why are we trusting the guys that probably shouldn't be here next year in Shapiro and Atkins to be running our trading of these players for our future? Like, doesn't that seem like this is a lame duck kind of trading session here, like these 10 days coming forward? I mean, I don't know. You tell me.
Chris, thanks for the call, man. The way I see it, and you guys let me know if you think this is dumb or not, but the way I see it is the time to have changed the general manager was probably like months ago, right? Because there's no real point to firing the GM after the deadline. Like, it would largely, in my opinion, be performative, right? So we are mainly talking pre-trade deadline, which again, as Chris said, is on the 30th. It's in 10 days. Today is July 20th. But I mean, they already had the MLB draft. They largely let Ross Atkins and Shane Farrell and the rest of these guys do the draft the way they prefer to. And I don't know. Like, it just, if they haven't, I'm not saying they shouldn't do it. They probably should. They really should, right? Like, if we're talking about people having already gotten as much runway as probably humanly possible for a team that has not had a playoff win in like 4, 5, 6 years or whatever it's been. Because I guess they got a playoff win when they first took over in 2016, but I mean, I don't know if you really count that, right? Like, since the pandemic, since that series against the Rays during the pandemic shortened season, no playoff wins, right? So there have been, and I've said this many times, but there have been many GMs / presidents, but certainly GMs. I think it's more common to see GMs fired, but many more on worse teams, I would say, in terms of regular season success. Teams that have far less regular season success, like make general manager changes, fire their general manager, and be done with it. It's just, while I do think it should happen, at the same time, most of these teams don't make those changes mid-season, right? Like, I actually, like, beyond the White Sox, who did it a couple of years ago. It wasn't last year. I think it was the year before last. I think that when Jerry DiPoto was brought in, I want to say that was also mid-season for the Mariners, I think. But apart from that, like, those are the only real examples that come to mind where GMs were fired like mid-season, essentially, right? So again, it should happen. There should be change because, I mean, you know, beyond, I don't know these guys at a personal level, but it's just, if you haven't had sustained success for a long period of time, even if, because here's the thing, if they had sustained success for a long time in the regular season, and you'd gotten to the ALDS or the ALCS or something, you probably make the argument that even with the farm system being pretty bare, that they have had some sort of success that was tangible. But that's not the case, right? That's not the case. So I do agree that there should be change, but it's just I don't think it's going to happen, right? I don't necessarily think that means that teams are going to like lowball the Jays by any means, but I do agree that it doesn't necessarily, you know, like, engender confidence, I suppose, when it comes to the looming trade deadline. Let's go back to the phones real quick, or pardon me, the text line real quick. 590-598, name and location. Let's see, I see here a text from Lindsay in Winnipeg. Thanks for the text, Lindsay. And Lindsay says, what another disaster. I am glad Garcia looked good in his outing today. Hopefully we can get something good in a trade for Garcia. Signed Vlad already. Oh, yeah, 1,000% agree. 100% agree that Vladdy needs to get re-signed. Like, generally speaking, I totally get that there are some frustrating moments from Vladdy, to be sure. Like, he ran into an out on the base paths today. He had some, like, they didn't result in errors, but some kind of wonky throws. Like, there was a throw from third to first where Horwitz had to really stretch and he had to, like, just keep his toe on the bag. Still an out, so, you know, you take it, I guess. Same goes for the play. I think that was in the top of the sixth, the really bad top of the sixth, where the bases were loaded. He throws home to Jano, and Jano had to stretch. He did everything right except for the throw where he kind of sails it in. Jano bails him out because he had his toe in the bag for the fours. So, like, I get it. I get that. Like, he's not perfect. Probably not going to be a third baseman long term, which is probably for the best. But I don't know. Like, he is so far and away the Jays' best player that on the balance of what you get from Vladdy, when you take in, like, base running, defense, and then the offense, and again, 3 hits today, another home run, 3 home runs in 3 games for Vladdy. Like, on the balance of everything, the positives, I think, for me, far outweigh the negatives. Like, just to Lindsay's point, just pay the man already. You know, don't make it a discussion. Pay him $25 million a year for the next, like, 12 years or whatever it takes. If the term is an issue, just give him the money. Who cares what's happening 12 years from now? Just do it and be done with it. Right? Like, I don't know. Like, what if we're talking about, like, the team was going to look so different in 12 years that what's the point of quibbling about, like, 10 or 12 years, for example? I don't know. That's just, I've always felt that when it comes to long-term contracts, especially in sports that don't have caps. It's like a salary caps, like the MLB. Like, it's a little different when you're talking about giving, you know, like Mitch Marner $13 million for 8 years or whatever. Like, it's a little different, right? Because there's a hard cap in the NHL. But I don't know. It's like the conversation doesn't really quite hit me as hard when it comes to the Major League Baseball. I've always felt that. A couple more texts before we take a quick break here. Mike in Victoria, interesting that if Bo went on the IL, we pulling our hair out. Now it's kind of meh. I will say John Schneider did give an update to us a couple minutes ago. John Schneider saying that it's a moderate calf strain. Because if you remember, before the game, he went for an MRI. The results, it was happening during the game, so we weren't sure if we were going to find out tonight or until tomorrow morning, for example. But yeah, a moderate calf strain. He will miss multiple weeks. So that's the update on Bo. More texts here real quick. I see Dan from Japan. Dan says 2 burning questions. 1, how is Martinez still the batting coach? 2, why hasn't Jerry Howarth been honored? It's pretty interesting, actually. Okay, so first on Guillermo Martinez, and like really all of them, right? Like Don Mattingly and so on. Generally speaking, I lean that, it doesn't necessarily all fall on one guy, but I mean, if they're going to go out of their way to call Don Mattingly the offensive coordinator, and then it looks anything but coordinated, I mean, like, you got to wear some of that blame, right? Like, I genuinely believe that. Like, if you're going to make such a big deal about it, then you got to have some results from it, generally speaking, right? I don't know. There's probably just needs to be wholesale change. By the way, on Jerry, always enjoyed the very, very, very brief time. I think it was like half a season where I worked with Jerry. It was my first year working at the Fan, but that was actually before I had ever even seen Tom Young in the flesh. I don't think I'd ever seen him in person. He was like in a disembodied voice on the microphones for like several years. But Jerry, like I actually don't feel that strongly about any remaining players to be put on the level of excellence. Like, I mean, like, who's left, I guess? I guess, like, Jimmy Key, he's not on the level of excellence, right? Vernon Wells, probably not. And if it means Vernon Wells is not on the level of excellence, then, I mean, as much as I love Edwin Encarnacion, legitimately one of my favorite Blue Jays players, but I don't know if he's like a level of excellence player in terms of production. Donaldson's probably not as well. So, like, if Jose is on the level of excellence, deservedly so, then, I mean, I think the next most obvious names to go on the level of excellence probably are Jerry Howarth and I would say Buck, right? Buck Martinez. Obviously, he's still working, so it's probably not going to happen while he's, like, actively broadcasting games. But, I mean, like, they both got to be on there. Like, they're probably the next 2 names that go on the level of excellence, I will say. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll go back to the text line, 590-590, name and location. And when we come back, we'll go back to the phones as well. 416-870-0590, 1-888-666-0590, star 590 on your cell. You're listening to Jays Talk, Jays Lose, 7-3 here at the Rogers Center. We'll back with more Jays Talk after this. Show Ali with you on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Timber Mart is Canada's building center, a solid neighbor to call upon when you've got a job to do. Your dependable home improvement store that offers the added value of Air Miles reward miles with every purchase of $15 or more. Visit timbermart.ca.
So, you want to be a Looney Dogger, eh? Every Tuesday Blue Jays home game is Looney Dogs Night presented by Schneider's. Grab $1 hot dogs from various concession stands around Rogers Center. Plus, stop by the Schneider's Porch, your hot dog headquarters. The destination for a one-of-a-kind hot dog experience with excellent ballpark views. So, whether you're the relish ringleader or 7th inning snacker, no Blue Jays game is complete without hot dogs. Don't miss out on this delicious deal. Looney Dogs Night, presented by Schneider's. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
Hi, I'm Buck Martinez, live from the showdown between pizza and inflation. First to the plate, with over 2 million sold, it's Fixed Rate Pizza, a hot and fresh extra-large 4-topping pizza for a fixed price of $17.99 until the end of 2024. Here's the delivery. And inflation strikes out. That's a swing and a drive for Fixed Rate Pizza. Lock in yours today.
Order pizza.ca. We're 2menintruck.ca. We've got lots of men and lots of trucks, so get ready to be moved. Think 2menintruck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day. Think 2menintruck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, 2menintruck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks, so give us a call today.
This August, the world's top players are back on Canadian soil.
Oh, you are kidding me.
See the stars come out at Canada's Ultimate Tennis Showcase. The National Bank Open, presented by Rogers on Sportsnet.
Felix Auger-Aliassime and Leila Fernandez.
Can our nation's best outshine the top seeds in tennis?
Bianca and Andreescu.
The National Bank Open, August 6th to 12th on Sportsnet.
Just amazing tennis.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know your vehicle rusts faster in warm weather? Protect your vehicle today. For a special summer offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Timber Mart always has plans to help you with your plans. Your home, your cottage, your garage, whatever needs your attention first, check the most visited spot on our website for ready-to-order plans to get the job done with Canada's Building Centre. Visit timbermart.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Bichette powers the ball to left field. Going back, Peralta. It's out of here.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Look great, so maybe that helps trade value for certainly for Jimmy Garcia, you got to think. But for two guys that have been injured for a long road back for Eric Swanson, and certainly this scary injury for Jimmy Garcia, it was probably lucky that he avoided anything super serious. But that they both pitched well today and looked good while doing so, it's definitely a plus. Despite that, though, despite them holding it down, Trevor Richards unfortunately did not, and unfortunately a 7-3 loss for the Blue Jays means they do lose the series. They'll look to win, salvage the series tomorrow afternoon at the Rogers Center. You're listening to Jays Talk here on the Sportsnet Radio Network. Show Ali with you for another 10 minutes or so. 416-870-0590, 1-888-660-590, star 590 on your cell. Those are the numbers for you to call. We'll go to the phones in a quick second, but 590-590, name and location, that's the People's Text line. You can text me there certainly as well. Actually, there was a quote from Kikuchi. He was speaking through the translator, of course, but someone asked him, of course, like, what do you think? Is it a trade deadline? You're going to get traded? Like, what do you think is going to happen? And this is what he said. He said, I don't know what's going to happen. It's out of my control. If this was my last game, I want to say I love the city, I love the fans. And I don't know, that kind of makes me a little sad. Honestly, the trade deadline is exciting because it brings new faces, but when you're a team like the Jays and you're selling guys, I mean, it's kind of a bummer, right? I mean, to Guy's point from earlier, maybe they do find a way to re-sign him in the offseason or at least get something back for him if they are trading him. But, I mean, I don't think it will be his last game. I suppose he could be traded before his next start. But as things line up right now, Kikuchi is on track at least. I think if all goes well, there's no game on Monday, which means I think he would be lined up to start the Friday game, which is the first game against the Rangers this coming week. So maybe we see him down here at the Rogers Center one more time. But, I mean, it's true. You know, with things heating up, he could easily be dealt before then. Let's go back to the phones. Let's get to Kevin in Bramalea. Kevin, what's up?
Show. Love you, man.
What is up, man?
Thank you for bringing me on the show here tonight.
Yeah.
Long-time Blue Jay fan. Disappointed with how things are rolling here. I just wanted to ask you a question about the Trevor Richards situation, because you went on at great length about why he shouldn't have been the pull. And I'm not saying that he should have been. But why not Jimmy? Jimmy Garcia should have come into that game right then and there. The game's got to change. We got to bring guys in that have, a guy that's been off. He's in high leverage. He's ready to pitch, and he scored nicely in the bottom of the eighth or whatever it was. The 3 strikeouts, and it might have been in a low leverage situation, and we may want to trade him, but that's no reason not to bring him in a high leverage situation.
Hey, I feel you, Kevin. Thanks for the call, man. I appreciate it. Look, I think for me, the only reason I would not have made Jimmy Garcia the guy to come in is because of the long layoff. And I actually think Kevin was saying the opposite, right? He was saying, because he had a long layoff, he's fresh, he's healthy, you go. But we hadn't actually, you know what? If Jimmy Garcia had pitched, if you guys remember, I think he was. There was talk of in the Diamondback series before the All-Star break. If you guys remember, I think it was on the Saturday that he was going to fly to Arizona and meet up with the team and then maybe play on the Sunday. Had he actually played on the Sunday, and we saw on Sunday what we saw today at the Rogers Center when he blew guys away and made it honestly look uncompetitive how good he was today. If we had seen that on Sunday, I'd been absolutely bring in Jimmy Garcia, make him the fireman, do the thing you've been doing all season long, where Jimmy Garcia is being deployed to take on the most high leverage spot, even if it's not in the 9th inning, and then you sort it out from there with a Chad Green or whoever if the game is closer by that point, right? I'm totally with you on that. But because we had not seen him then, I just feel like from a trade value perspective, like, can you imagine the conversations, gosh, we would be having if Jimmy Garcia came in and even gave up like one hit with the bases loaded, like 2 runs at a minimum would have scored. And then we'd be having the conversation like, oh, John Schneider, like, what an idiot. Like, why did he bring in Jimmy Garcia with the bases loaded and nobody else after not pitching for like 2 weeks or whatever? That's really the only reason why, probably more than 2 weeks, honestly, at this point. I'm probably under selling it. But that's really the only reason why I don't think I would have brought in Jimmy. Not because I don't think he could have done it. It's just, I think for his very first start back, appearance back, whatever, even though he has like the starter's arsenal in terms of variety of pitches and the velo was clearly there, I don't know. I think for me, I would have let him just, I liked what they did. It's like one of the few things I liked about today's game, that they didn't put him in a super high leverage situation. But you know what? If tomorrow calls for it, then you know what? There's a day off on Monday. Let him pitch in a high leverage situation. Absolutely. If you're showing him off for trade value at this point and you don't think he's going to re-sign in the offseason, then you know what? Do it. Absolutely. But I think with no outs, bases loaded, even for a guy coming back off the IL, I think that's probably the right move. Let's go back to the text line. 590, name and location. Jimmy in Hinton, Alberta, says Buck needs to be on the level of excellence. I agree. Jimmy says Jays should trade everyone, including value. Vladdy, pardon me. I disagree with that, mainly because you got to have like some players who are going to be here for the long term. Like, Vladdy's so young, right? If Vladdy was like 29 and this was the same situation, like if this was a Pete Alonso situation, I'd say, yeah, okay, you know what? Probably trade him. Like, honestly, if he was that old, but he's not, right? He's 25. I think he's going to be 26 by the beginning of next season. So, there's still a lot of leeway when it comes to his age and what you're going to get. So, I don't know. I will disagree on trading Vladdy. I see here, Greg texts and say a trade thought, Marner to Utah for Keller and Sergachev. I will say, you know what? I'll pass it along to Kipper and Bourne and to McKee, and I'll get their take on whether or not you like that. They like that trade. Having said that, I'll just say I think Mitch Marner starts the year for the Leafs. Whether that's good or bad is not for me to say. Let's see. I see Tina from London. She says, can't help but being depressed watching the Jays. Good thing the Olympics will be on soon. You know what? That's true. The Olympics are going to start. I think the opening ceremonies are on Friday, actually. It's on the 26th, right? So the Rangers, actually, I guess they would already have taken place by that point because I think, Paris is 5 or 6 hours ahead of us. So I guess, or us being here in Toronto. So while the Rangers game is happening here at the Rogers Centre, I guess the opening ceremonies might be over by then. I see here Alex in the Junction texting about what we were talking about earlier. Alex says, I don't think these rough endings to some solid outings will affect his value much at this point, for Kikuchi, of course. Alex says, any team looking into him as a viable option must be able to look into the underlying numbers enough to see it's a third time through the lineup pinch, not typically earlier on in the game. He has a real versatility to be a real weapon in the bullpen. He's a rental, no doubt, but I hope the Jays make a real, genuine effort to sign him and Jansen back in the offseason. The season is a write-off, but they better get a deal done with Vladdy. I agree with pretty much all of that, Alex. I got to say, I really genuinely don't believe he's gotten slammed in terms of value. Like, maybe maybe role-wise, as we discussed at the beginning of the show, maybe role-wise it's a little bit different. Maybe teams just believe that he is going to be in the bullpen permanently in the playoffs and will just help them get to the finish line of the regular season. Maybe that's what we're going to see. But at the same time, like, if they do believe that it's just Kikuchi is a 2 times through the order guy, then I got to think most contenders are equipped for that, right? Like, if you're the Dodgers are probably equipped for that, right? If the Braves and the Phillies are probably equipped for that, right? So I'm not sure. I don't even think the Braves or Phillies are going to be that interested in Kikuchi. You've got probably other teams that need more starting pitching, but that's kind of where I fall on. I don't think that his value was slammed too much. Daryl from Guelph, has Richards tanked his value based off this recent run? Probably a little bit, right? I mean, I'm confident that he might end up being the one guy that stays, just because great season up until July, and then July has been horrible, like an ERA of over 9.3. I haven't seen what it is including today, but that was what it was prior to today's game for the month of July. So I kind of wonder if he doesn't get traded. There was another text from, God, I just lost it. Here it is. Glenn in Nova Scotia in Colebrook says, the way the Jays season is going, I can see no team wanting any of the Jays free agents at the deadline. I do think Kikuchi and Garcia are going to be pretty attractive, mainly because, I mean, how many left-handed starters that can throw like upper to high 90s are there available? Probably, I would say, apart from Kikuchi, probably none, right? I mean, Garrett Crochet is pretty attractive, certainly, as well. He and Kikuchi are like 1-2 in terms of the most attractive pitchers available at the deadline. So I'd say them for sure. But, I mean, what's the value for a Justin Turner? Like, what's the value for a Kevin Kiermaier? Like, you're probably not getting like a very highly valued prospect for either of those guys, I'm thinking, right? I mean, Jimmy Garcia, I wonder if the value for bullpen arms has been set by that trade the Royals did to get Hunter Harvey, right? I mean, I think they had to give up the second-ranked prospect and a conditional draft picks, and conditional draft picks are the ones you could trade. You can't trade normal, quote-unquote, normal draft picks. But, I mean, if that's the market, then you feel okay about the pitching side of things in terms of Kikuchi Garcia. But, I don't know, like, I mean, Justin Turner has not played particularly well. So I don't know that for a guy who's like nearing 40 as well, who's also a part-time player at best, I'm not sure he's going to be getting you tons of value. I see Ruben in Alberta says, and I appreciate the text, Ruben, always like hearing from you. He says, I would have brought in anyone but Richards in that situation in the sixth. Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of options here. But, I mean, like, honestly, if they had brought in Ryan Burr over Richards, I would have probably quibbled about it a little bit, but less if they had brought in Trevor Richards. It's a tough watch, unfortunately. I appreciate the texts, everyone. Appreciate the calls. You guys are the best. I know it's a tough season, tough going here in the second half, but well, as Blair likes to say, you get to do it all over again tomorrow, right? Sometimes that feels more like a threat than a positive thing. But, hey, we will be back for more Blue Jays baseball tomorrow. Blue Jays baseball, of course, brought to you by the local family-owned Crown Rust Control Centers in Ajax, Whitby, and Oshawa. Protect your vehicle from rust today. Find your local family-owned Crown at crown.com. Canada's #1 rust protection. For the Bens, Ben Schulman and Nicholson Smith. Tommy.
This has been Major League Baseball play-by-play on SiriusXM and the SiriusXM app. Why do I love calling this game?
Calling this game.
Calling this game.
Calling this game.
Why do I love calling this game? It's because I get a chance to bring some joy into people's lives.
Anything can happen on a baseball field.
We've got a new game.
It's perfectly unscripted theater.
Everybody on their feet.
Because you never know what you're going to see on a given day.
It is bedlam at the bank as Bryce Harper has put the Phillies on top.
There's just something about baseball on the radio.
Something about the way wood hits leather.
A swing and a drive to deep left center.
The way leather hits dirt.
And he made the play. Oh, my.
The way a deep fly ball sounds like it's about to change history.
High fly ball to center field. It's hit pretty well toward the wall.
Until the cleats hit the grass, hit the crushed brick, and then nothing but sky and a silent crowd.
That ball's high.
Until leather hits leather and 40,000 fans lose their collective minds.
In a perfect symphony of chaos.
He jumped up on top of the wall, balanced himself, and caught it.
The way nothing triumphs a perfectly honest call.
I don't believe what I just saw.
And the way the right voice can make a moment live forever.
Touch 'em all, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger home run in your life.
Outsiders may think this is just two teams.
The ball, a bat, and a microphone. But no.
For over 100 years, this has been the soundtrack of the American pastime.
He struck him out looking. It's over. It's over. The Rangers have won the World Series.
The soundtrack of summer. This is Major League Baseball on the radio.
Right now on SiriusXM.
All rise.
Coming in 5.
Get ready to play. 4.
Get up. Get up.
3.
Can you believe it?
Put your seatbelt on.
Wow.
Talk about the game and all the stories on MLB Network Radio. SiriusXM 89 and the SiriusXM app.